that ours was easier. You chose to make it hard on yourself.
I also didn't give you that challenge.
Yeah, no, literally nobody gave you that challenge.
Hey, I'm joked about, and therefore it became a challenge.
It is real now, and I do enjoy it. Let's see. Let me get the right page up here. Okay, so it's been a long time since we played. That's for
before the week before, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, when I went to go visit Toxic.
I was not a dad yet. The last
you
time
were not
we played.
a father yet, and now you're a father.
I was like just prepping to come down to Florida too, so I hadn't even had my internship.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true too. Wow, lots has changed since our last episode. I guess it has been like maybe 2 to 3 months now.
Probably. Are you going live on
2 months?
Twitch?
I think I just no, just
okay.
on my YouTubes for my D&Ds now.
Okay, I will. I just want to make sure I follow so you get a viewer or watch.
No, and this is exactly why, because it's been since before November. If I had just done it on Twitch, I wouldn't have known where we left off. I had an idea, and I was actually right, but like, still, I wouldn't have known. I love that YouTube just keeps it forever. Holy shit, that
is nice,
bro. Anyway, oh,
yep,
that'll go away. Yes. Hold on, let me pull up the correct page now. How do I do that? I do this. Good thing it was like split into wildly 4 different pieces. Yeah, that was definitely on me. How do I do this now? Hold on. I got to figure out how to do this now. 1 second. I come into I pulled up the message on accident because I started to talk and it was just curiosity. So I pulled up the message on accident and then like luckily it's all split into weirdly 4 different pieces, like it's a puzzle on my screen like that. I'm just laughing that like just fucking less than I don't know 2 minutes in, and I immediately showed it off.
You see, this is why I chose said specific pictures that I'm allowed to show in the beginning, because I do have other photos, but that'll be
so funny.
Like off stream for that reason.
I cannot believe that I just like instantly clicked on it. That's ridiculous of me. I have fixed all
what
my
is your
screens.
YouTube channel?
Either M does or the Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice channel. It should be live on now. Yeah, cool. Yep. No, wait, why is Craig up there now? That makes no sense. Oh, that does make sense. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna come on here now. Let's see what happens. So it's been a while, but we did some stuff last time.
Thank you.
And it was quite a lot of stuff too.
It shows me as Craig.
It does show you as Craig. I have to adjust some of this again.
Yeah, you're fine.
Let's see.
I did turn my camera on so people can see my ugly mug.
You back to Craig. And then I'll change.
Oh, it's doing the thing where it doesn't show me?
No, it isn't. It is because there's 5 pictures here, and I, like, secured it on everyone's picture, because now that Craig's in the chat, there's a 5th thing, and it just...
No, hold on, I didn't turn on my camera yet. Give me 1 second.
You do not have to if you don't want to. And no one does if you don't want to.
No, I'll do this fine. You know the thing.
Now Craig's down there.
All right. Well,
yes. So last time, we started our like sort of secondary game, where, my God, now I'm distracted by all this. I keep grabbing Craig. That's killing me. It's hurting my soul. No, I want to grab you, Craig. You piece of shit. Get over here. Wonder if Craig will respond to that in the recording. Anyway. No. I'm just gonna keep skipping over it until I fix this. Not that way. Which way are you? You're up and above. Okay, put you down here. There you go. There you go. Way faster like that. And then make it bigger. Cool. I don't really care if they line up. Who gives a shit? No, wait. Now you two are in different spots. How did that happen?
Yeah, you've been moving. You moved me to where Toxic is.
Weird. Why would I do that?
I see me.
Okay.
Hey, there's a boot.
We did it. We did it.
Kind
we
of.
did it and we made it. It took a
You have
second.
to-
It's gonna take
yeah,
full
Toxic
hot
and Year.
minute on live.
Swapped.
Yeah.
There we
yeah.
go. Yep.
The delay on YouTube is insane. It is difficult to talk to chat on YouTube, I will say. YouTube, if
Yes.
you're listening, it's very difficult to talk to chat.
Oh wow, you're on like a 45-second delay.
It's insane, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to
Buddha
ask
just
chat
waved
what to
his
name my
hand.
fucking Pokemon, bro? Like, they were like, I literally have gotten comments like, you don't wait. Like, no, I do. I just don't wait for 60 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
You know when I get into the battle if I'm
Well,
gonna catch a
also,
Pokemon.
make sure you have your top right chat says live chat. not
It
top chat.
does. It does.
Okay.
I actually have to watch it through my phone on the side because if I want to keep up with it live, like during D&D, it's not as important to me because I'm
Right.
usually not responsive. We're just playing. It's an enjoyment of watching, but like, yeah, live I have to like keep it up on my phone. It's the lowest delay there. Weirdly. Anyway, okay, so last time we started our new game here. Pretty crazy. We hit a moment where the hunger is sort of enclosing in all around us. We've just discovered that Lucretia has severed a good portion of like our memory of the past, and that this sort of arc that we're playing now is the experience of those memories she severed. What we don't remember is what we are learning now. And so we went back in time to the beginning of that. We are part of the Institute of Planar Research. We have our ship, the TCR. If you don't remember what that stands for, you don't deserve to understand what that stands for, and I don't want to repeat it. So it is exactly that. The TCR is our ship. We're all in.
Doesn't remember himself.
I do remember. I just don't want it to come ever back up. If we now call it the TCR, then it's perfect. Yeah, we are all going out to explore what the light of creation can really do. It came down to your group, your world, and you are all on the cut, like the group that is studying what this thing can do. And so far, before you guys headed out on your journey, what it seems like it can do is literally anything. That's its point. It seems so far that it just... I mean, you've named it the light of creation because it is simply that, right? It is a light, kind of a physical object. I would call it more of a ball if you're touching it and feeling it, but like, it's amorphous in nature. It's a light, and you guys can pretty much do whatever you want. It advanced your society very quickly, your understandings in the various sciences and magics as well. You've been able to use it to literally create things as well as like advance ideas. And your team for the Institute of Planar Research is using it to see like what you can learn out in the Planarverse. And so you've left your city after a night of various like saying goodbyes to your planet in the Star Blaster that you're leaving in, and have headed off. As you exited your atmosphere and headed off into the various planescapes, imagine like the concept we think of space as being yet another bubble to go through, right? Once you go through this next bubble, you see all of our space, stars, blackness here in this disk, but you also see the plane of magic in a free-floating disk next to that, right? You see the plane of thought. I think that's actually you guys, the plane of thought. There's 13 total of them, and I only could fucking pull 2 off the top of my head. But there's 13 planes out there as you're scanning, right? And as you start to like do all this study, something happens, and like the atmosphere around you feels very jiggly. The light of creation seems to flicker a bit, and you guys split off into like a shattered reality, like, you know, I don't know, it's like, it feels like an anime where you're looking at a character and all of a sudden they crack in glass and then shatter outwards, and you're like, well, they're not dead, but like something is splitting in their mind, right? That's kind of the feeling you get. You shatter outwards and then recoalesce. And now you've gone through some cycles. This was the like setting of yourself out into the multiverse. You've gone through 2 cycles in canon, like in like actual recording, but in a total, I think, of like almost 10 of them. And at this point, you've learned a few things throughout these cycles. I'll go over our 2 cycles, but most important, it feels like the overall things you've learned. And that is that you guys come here, and very soon, within 24 hours after you like blorp into this reality, the light of creation falls down onto the reality below you. We're going to use a planet because if you just talk about, like, as I said, like you leave the next bubble of space, like how would you ever find something thrown into that? You never would. You never would. So we're going to call it's always a planet, right? You guys come down into a planet and the light of creation falls within 24 hours. The Hunger's scouts show up pretty much within 24 hours after that, and then you have a year from that point before the Hunger finds its way to this plane to attempt to eat it. You know that if you find the light of creation in that time and can escape the reality with it, seemingly only while the Hunger is also here. Like you've tried to leave when you found the light of creation early on in a loop, but it didn't work. Like it didn't get you outside of that next bubble. It only seems to be when the Hunger is present can you actually leave the bubble that you're on and like get to this point of safety, right? You know that if you die in these realities, as Yi has done most of them, that's okay, because this weird split thing that you went through seems to have like logged your space across all these realities. So you seem to be okay as you come back into this. You don't have any like leftover things, I don't know, like diseases or impairments or anything like that. You just come back in as you were the day you left. I think someone has a scratch on their arm. Someone got into a fight for some kind. I think Yi got his feathers pulled out during like a bar scrawl before you guys left on his arm or something. Like you guys are some of you are somewhat marked in some way. Probably a basic scratch or 2 as the great narrative of it all. Yeah, that you come back with, but it's nothing like. Again, it's not an impairment, right? Like you can ruffle out that piece of feathers.
Like he just barely like beat the darkness, and like something happened to him during it.
No, I thought I got away pretty clearly.
No, everyone. I mean, that's like that. That's the key of all this is that like even if you throw yourself into like off a cliff or something, like no matter what, at the end of the year, when you guys escape, which seems to be point 3, you'll come back. But point 3 being that you have all come to the conclusion that someone must escape with the ship. You have yet to find out what happens if you don't. And I don't know if anyone, I will say on the NPC crew, the others being, we have Loop, which is Angus's twin and Toxic's open partner. We have Lucretia, Angus, and Davenport, the captain pilot. I don't think that any of them would, I don't think that we might have come to the group conclusion, but at least they would be on the side of, hey, we have to escape, and we don't really want to figure out what happens if we don't. We have gone through 2 of these in sort of the narrative of it. One was the first, in which you came down to an animal planet, found out kind of how the language worked through Yi, and found your way up to their like higher court system, and argued your way into the light of creation, and got it, and escaped with the light of creation. And when that occurs, it's a little bit more rare, but when that occurs, the planet and overall reality as you watch from above seems to be battered by the Hunger, but not consumed. Just like terrible cataclysms, for sure. But there are survivors. There is culture and community that survives in those cases when you have the light of creation. But when you don't, there is nothing that remains. It is a full consuming of whatever that plane is, which is why you guys have come to know it as the hunger. That feels to me like a good catch-up. Are there any questions that you guys have before we dive in? Oh, the other one we went through was a mushroom one, in which, I don't know, I think Korik got some, like, mushroom fungus.
I am currently bedridden due to time spent with one mushroom type, and I am sick.
You were, for sure. We finished the end of that cycle, so you would be healed up. Like, when we come into this next cycle, you are, as you know, full great condition, right? That's how we always come back. Including, I think that was a great example of, like, what happens when you're sick and not dead, right? You still find out that you just reset back to fine, like back to how you entered into these realities.
Oh, I was kind of excited to see if it like mutated at all with me or something.
I think when I was re-listening, it sounded like I had come up with an idea in that moment, and I think maybe what that is like the seed of why you didn't die to the silverthorn poison in our story that we got to play down, you know, which made you into the guy you are now, the thorn druid, right? It was probably the seed of that, the protective little seed that didn't just make you die to that, but instead grew. It like reproduced like a fungus would have.
Okay, cool.
You know, I don't think we said that in that moment, but I think that would be that seed for me. So, like, you know, as you come out of this, I think I made a joke that you coughed up a mushroom, but only for the, like, visuals of it, right? Yeah, it's never good. I mean, that's a solid coming up. But, you know, I think that over the course of, you know, this first few weeks, you're able to break that down as the scientist that you are to, you know, maybe make the 2 and 2 connection that what I have experienced with the spikes beyond that. Well, would you do that? You'd have to do that after we left this, because you now don't know about the spikes, because this is, like, you know, almost 100 years ago or whatever. Anyway, yeah, but that's how that came about. There's going to be a lot of that, a lot of little, like, thread pulling to try to, like, get to the conclusions that we've gotten to in the campaign, and that's a great one. The mushroom, like, mycelia remaining to allow, I guess, just maybe that to not kill you. That was the one thing they interacted with in the right way, to reproduce in a protective way. Yes, anyone else? Any questions before we dive in? We have our special character sheets.
I do remember we learned that we couldn't bring people with us.
That is a fantastic point. I'm glad we have learned that. That's an important fact. Yeah, you have tried to bring people along, and you have learned that you can't, like, your ship as a whole resets to the way it was, is what you've learned. So, like, and your ship and anything on it, if you can escape so far, reset fully. And if there is I think what you've discovered is life cannot join you, so a pet hasn't been able to join. You know, like, if you did a rat experiment, that couldn't join. A person could not join. But inanimate objects can. You have discovered.
Okay.
For whatever purpose. I don't know, a stick, right? A flower, whatever that was, a rock specifically, just to test it.
Time start stealing their money.
Money. I bet would have money. I'm betting money would have stolen money. And some of these to just see, even though you die most of the time, so your stuff doesn't make it back. That's hard to say.
Hey, you don't know what he did with his, like, 8 alive days.
That's true. He could like store them in the ship before he dies. He doesn't have to keep it on his pocket. He comes back to, like, an open loot chest. He's just, like, crying because it's full.
He wouldn't leave it in the open because he knows Buddha's character would definitely try to take it from him.
You owe him. Though I guess I don't know
paid
if
him back already with, like,
this character. It's hard, man.
Yeah.
Timelines. Kooky. Okay. Any other questions before we dive into what will be cycle 17? We're going to skip ahead a bit. There's going to be quite a bit of skipping.
Yeah, good.
No, I think I'm good.
Stellar. Anything from you, Buddha, before we?
I'm good.
Perfect. Cycle 17. Things have been going the same way. I mean, someone has survived every time. The hunger seems to be getting more aggressive each time that you're able to escape with the light, which is, we'll say, 2 or 3 times in this time. It is not common that you're able to find and get the light. Like, sometimes you've found it but haven't been able to get it through whatever reasons. Maybe there's like it's held by like a city or an army or a big monster that you just weren't able to overcome for whatever reason in that cycle. And of course it was consumed by the hunger, but it seems that every time you're able to escape with the light, that it comes back a little bit more aggressively. The tendrils shoot down harder than they did. More things seem to pour out of the darkness. This time, when you come out of the strange reality goo, you find yourself in a seemingly advanced world on your first few passovers. Advanced, but in decay. Advanced a long time ago. These are cities that are broken down and ruined, that are no longer in use. You don't see any inhabitants for like the first few weeks even. And I mean, in that first 24 hours when the light is supposed to fall, you can imagine that it does, but this is the case you've seen in a couple different cycles where it falls like literally on the other side of the planet, out so far, like out of your sensor ranges, that like after a few days of flying in passovers, Davenport and Loop and Korik, even the science officers of the crew, the people doing this triangulations, make the decision that like we can keep looking. It sometimes has helped us, but maybe we could spend our year differently. Like we don't think we're going to find it in this case. It's a very bright planet, so we can't use just the light that it produces. We can't find it right in this first week. And yeah, so you guys get the idea to like explore this planet a little more. And after a little bit, you come across a 3-tiered sort of advanced city. This seems to be a capital of some kind in its build and its make. It's so much larger than any of the other destructed cities you've seen. It is positioned around this giant gulch, this river pouring down into a waterfall that cuts through the first few tiers of the city just fine, but it seems to have completely flooded. Like I don't know, you could see the tops of something in the 3rd tier, but anything below that is just like underwater now, because all of like whatever aqueducts they had built to run that properly have broken down over time and have not been maintained, of course. But in this, seemingly ex-opulent capital city, what you do see, what draws you to this, is that there are robots walking around on the city streets. They seem to be going through the motions of life. You see a couple of them sitting and pantomiming, like having a lunch at a cafe. You see them walking down the streets and exchanging pleasantries as they go about their day. They seem to be living lives, but sort of through pantomime, like they're miming all of these things. They're not actually eating anything at the table. They're just they're picking up an empty cup and pretending to sip it and then having conversation with their friend. And being the first sort of bit of, we're not going to call it life, but activity, right, that we've seen on this planet, your crew decides that this would be a great place to, I don't know, explore, whether that be, we'll find out in what ways. How would you guys like to spend your year around this city?
I would like to look to see if there's some sort of like overseer or mayor's office or building or something like that. I'm assuming it would be on the highest tier. and like to go kind of just see about that and see if there's some records to try to give us direction as to other buildings we may be able to go through or something like that.
So, do they just mime eating, or do they mime everything? Like they don't actually talk, or
Oh no, they are talking to one another. You hear them.
They're like going
say
through the
hello.
motions.
It seems to be a common, right? Yeah. It seems to be a common language. I think, with the way you're in cycle 17, you've had to learn languages really quick. This one wasn't hard. It wasn't so far away from common that it took you but a few days with a focused group effort to pick up the basic exchanges here. And yeah, they are speaking like, basic common to each other, Hello, how are you? How's your day? Beautiful day we're having, isn't it? This scone picks up nothing and crunches is the best in the neighborhood. I agree. Yeah, everyone comes to Francoise's scones because, like, it sounds like they would be eating, but they're pantomiming food and beverage and like the actual, thing that would be there, but they're living there.
How do you spell Francoise's?
I'd like to figure out why they don't have food on this planet.
Francois
Or
scones.
food, or I think
Francois. Francois.
I think I want to figure out why the hell they don't have food on this planet, or water,
They have
or
scones. They just talked about scones.
Yeah, they had scones.
They had. I thought he said had.
They had
the operative
scones. I bet
word
they could
being-
make them, but they don't have ingredients at this point.
I would like to figure out why they don't have ingredients to make the food that they normally eat. I think I'm going to spend my time researching that.
Okay.
What changed to create the need for no food, or what are the circumstances?
What happened to any biological based creatures?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
That's also why I'm
Yeah.
trying to go to the overseer's, office or something for some sort of digital record, because if there was or is a leader of this area, he would definitely have kept a record of some sort, especially hidden, because he wouldn't want who used to be the inhabitants find out if he was like fucking them over or something.
Yeah, it's feeling to me like Toxic is doing this or Tim is doing this by a mind roll. Do you think you're doing this by a mind or a heart roll, Korik?
For me, this is 100% mind. I want to use my intellect to figure this out.
Cool. I'm gonna figure out what Yi is, but I have an idea actually for both of your things off my cuff. Yi, what are you up to this year? How do you want to spend it?
So we walk by a bunch of like ruined, rundown kind of cities. You said.
Oh yeah. There's so much.
Yi seeing it is gonna try to figure out how to summon the gods of this airplane.
So probably a heart roll. I'm imagining it feels like in the heart segment, because other
It's
than that, it's
2D.
mind or body, right?
It's 2d6, right? I forgot.
It is going to be a 2d6 situation. For the two of you, though, and maybe for you, once I get to the bottom, I might put all of yours together and take the highest roll. I just want to see if he is... It sounds like it actually might fit into that, too. So I just kind of want to see if you guys are going these sort of... that's what I'm thinking. Do you have an argument for another one? Because you're dealing with like religious natures. I'm not seeing body. I could also see mind. Like if you're doing like research and like investigation.
I feel like heart would be if you're praying for like the gods to appear, but mind is like if you're trying to force them. And I feel like at this moment he's just trying to pray to them and see if there's even a god that exists because of the rundown. Because knowing gods, like from what he's seen from the light and everything, gods wouldn't just leave their creations to just be destroyed like this. So what the hell kind of happened?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you a heart roll. Yours is gonna be a separate thing because I have ideas for these split paths. The two of you, I'd like you to give me your mind rolls, and I'm gonna take the highest. And I'm kind of gonna put you guys together as like a team, right, for this year. Everyone else.
I rolled a 6 and a 1, and I'm +2. So.
I rolled an 11, a 9 plus 2.
6 and a 1
so how
plus
do we
2
do
is
this
9
roll
and 11.
again?
So we're gonna take 11. You're gonna do 2d6 plus heart.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure of.
Yep.
2d6. Oh, that's not the roll command.
Baby toxic.
That is a 5 and a 2, so 8 in total.
Okay.
Oh, did you see Mrs. Toxic bring him
I
on
did.
camera?
I tried to wave, but that's vibing. I love it.
He's asleep.
Oh, that's awesome. How's Miss Toxic doing?
She's good.
That's good.
Most of the crew, Davenport is going to remain behind. No, I'm going to switch it up. Barry's going to vote to sort of remain behind this year as like you guys have come to the conclusion again, that it's good to have someone that just spends the year on the ship until we figure out something else, right? Like, we don't have a better way. So as long as someone's on the ship, if anything changes, they can get us the fuck out of here. And Barry has taken that role on this year. And so Davenport and Lucretia and Loop, they all head out to see what parts they can get. If they can get anything for the ship, like power or replacement metal in case you guys get damaged. It's always good to have supplies around, and they're gonna go around and start collecting those things. Tim and Korik go off and start learning these people, start asking them questions, and getting to the bottom of like what has happened to this place. You learn a few things through talking to them. One, that this society definitely had some sort of ruler at some point, but that has sort of the need for that has long since washed away. They are more than happy living their lives as they are. They don't need change. They give each other what they need, and they don't, they're not fighting with anyone. They're not in need of anything. They don't argue over scarcity or anything like that. So the need of a leader long since sort of fell away. But they still have this community. They're still active, right? They still live in this place. I'll say that while you guys are here, you see people move houses. Like they go through the rigmarole of real life. But you learn that they used to be people. They used to be something of a humanoid race that lived and populated the whole planet in all of these cities that you guys see across this. But that there was a plague that swept through and just eradicated them. No one could seemingly escape from its wash over their planet. And in this capital city, 2 organizations kind of developed out of that in an attempt to save people. One chose to save who they thought were the most important people, right? Which turned into sort of a wealth grab. The rich of the rich, the most important, the leaders, the wealthy artists, whatnot. These people were sort of a part of this group. Ultimately, though, they failed because nothing was like they couldn't. It was very easy to see that they weren't going to have a community after this happened. The second organization that you guys are able to get, and this one's a little bit harder to... At first, it seemed like they were beating around a bush, just like not telling you. They told you about this organization, but you kept hearing there was something else, there's something more, someone else did something. And it took you a long time, but Korik is able to find the right bot to speak to, I think, is what it is. And you learn about this second organization, the Beasts of the Ring. Its name, while said, like the intention of it is long since lost. Like what that meant is gone. But they have the name still locked in there. They managed to do something. They found a very powerful source of magic, of energy, and were able to capture the souls of people in this source. But the source was sort of once captured in it, the souls were able to travel to and fro, and into the bodies of their, what used to be just sort of servitude droid bots. These weren't always us, this person tells you, but they were just sort of our workers, our build this building, do this chore. They were servitude bots. But this source has allowed them to extend their life and their life beyond by being able to like sort of freely move their souls into different forms, and in this case, inanimate objects being these robots. Yes, that is what you guys learn. I'm going to give Tim an experience because you did succeed. So you get 1 experience for doing some history stuff. I'm going to give Cork an experience and a bond, sort of with these people in this place, because this took you a lot of people of talking to. You probably spent some days talking to this specific robot, like developing a friendship with them. So, that's the bond is sort of to this community. I know that they're just sort of number values, but that would be the difference, I guess, between why Tim didn't get it and then you did. But more that was just the numbers. But you guys both got the successes based on that wonderful 11. In working together this year, learning a little bit about their history. What I will tell you also with that, like that both of you working together, is that you feel there's one fly buzzing around my computer screen. It's pissing me off. You feel that they're not telling you everything.
You feel the fly on M's computer.
You feel the fly on my computer. No, you feel that they're not telling you everything, but even this robot doesn't give you more than that, right? Yeah. Yi, you spend time praying in their temples. You spend time trying to connect with their god space, whatever that is, which you have connections to powerful, like what has turned religious deities, and this should be easy for you. But I think in this time, you got an 8?
Yes.
Yeah, I think in this time, you don't get any connections. Sort of like it's shut off to this place. You don't even feel like the ley lines, like usually when you pray and you feel like strong religious connections, you can kind of sense the other deities out there, right? Like you can sense the specificity of the power you've chosen in that, as well as like the wider grand scheme of what that magic comes from. I think it's all very personal in the feeling of that, but I think that you feel a sort of like silent bubble in only the way that you have when your deity went missing, right? Yours is not missing. They respond with their like cackles and their jeers and whatnot, but they're inside of you, I guess, at this point, right? I think. Fuck if I remember. We've done weird timey-wimey shit. I think they're back in space, actually.
They were... This actually works well with how Buddha did, because originally when Buddha retimed it, my god technically went back all the way to where he originally was before.
Yeah, so they're out there in space.
Yeah, he went back to like wherever he's from technically.
Yeah, so you get some jeers and some like jibes about, like, haha, you're alone out here, haha, I'm the only one, blah 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 blah. But in that, you really do get that, like, there isn't that connection to what would have been religious deities. It seems to have disappeared in the same way that your god disappeared. But what you do find in that, I'll give you... we'll give it a bond. I'll give you a bond with your guy. Like, right? Like, I think your bond increases because, like, you spent a year sort of, or, a portion of this year sort of jabbing and jibing with your dude, and you probably threw some in there sometimes. It turns, I think, throughout this year a little bit more. It seems to be a lot more like coworkers giving each other the jive rather than people that hate each other jives. Even though this is still a chaotic entity, you feel a little bit closer to it.
I hope you know it. As he leaves each church, he's just going to take each most religious holy artifact he can find that he thinks will sell the most.
That you could either take bond or I think asset is the word.
It is assets, yes.
Yeah, you can take one of those, either bond or asset, if you're stealing a bunch of religious iconography.
I'm going to take the bond because why not? Why not have a better bond with a god? But
I love it. You do find, though, in the biggest church of the tiered capital city, you started out and worked your way in. This largest church, the lower floors of it seem to be flooded, but it actually seems like is a way down, not in an unflooded chamber, but that it's not just jumping off of a waterfall. Through this church, you see, if you could figure out how to be underwater, you could probably get down safely into the next tier of the city underwater and figure out what's down there. But you found a path through here.
Okay.
And throughout the year, your crew is assessing all of this info put together. They've found some supplies for the ship. They've made sure to repair whatever dings and banged up portions needed it. And let's see. Davenport suggests in this last month you guys have that it's something more is here. There's an energy source that they spoke of, right? That seems to be still in effect. And you guys have dug through these two top capital layers. And Davenport is arguing that it's best probably to go figure out where that energy source is so that the hunger can't claim it. For whatever. We don't know what it does when it claims things, but if it has the ability to move souls in and out of vessels, then it's probably good for us. What's up?
I just wonder, can ye do a body roll to see, as he's technically experienced it once, to see if he can just pop his soul out of his body somehow?
Oh, God. That's wild.
Because I feel like
body roll, though.
It's either that or heart. I feel like
I think I could see a heart roll here for that. I like where your brain's at. Let's give it a shot. I think a heart roll though, because it feels a little bit more along that religious. You're working with spirit.
Yeah. That is a 9.
Bless you.
You can't figure out how to get your soul out of your body, but you do withdraw sort of into yourself, right? You get this sort of floaty feeling. You feel trapped within the confines of your actual physical shape. But down below in that flooded section, you feel the pull. You can feel that whatever is down there for sure. You can see its light, right? In the darkness, in the pitch blackness around the form that holds you in, but you can't see the floors or whatever's in between you, but you can see a very bright light down there, trying to draw you in. So it's down there. I will give you with that roll for sure.
He of course will share this with everyone.
Yeah. Does anyone have a way to help breathe underwater?
I don't think so. Let me just check my spell list.
I'm a druid. I'm a druid. I can become a fish.
You can become a fish, so you can check it out.
Actually, hold on. I can become a shark.
A worse fish? Okay, hell yeah. I feel like someone has done something with water breathing in the past.
It's not me. I don't have underwater breathing or any of that.
Or in case I want to use arms, can I become an octopus? Would you allow that? And I could because octopus can fit into holes that are this fucking big. So this way, if we get down to something, I could fucking
the size of their beak. Yep, that's your size. Yeah. I love that. You can become an octopus for sure.
Why not just become a kraken?
Well, octopus is good. We don't want to give him too much.
I'm gonna become a bigger bird and beat the shit out of you.
Gotta catch me first, sucker.
Let's see. I'll give you guys a mind roll between you and Tim and Yi to try to come up with a system to breathe underwater, right? Can we figure out how to make a sort of breathing tank or an apparatus to get down there? I'll give you guys a mind roll for that. You have a lot of tech and
I rolled a 7. That's not great.
With your plus or minuses?
Yeah, with my pluses, I rolled a 7.
Oh God.
What about
I would like to phone a friend. I would like to phone my friend Tamagotchi to come and create something for them.
Oh man, I don't know where he's at during all this. It's one of the realities, but maybe not this one.
God,
it's the crossover I didn't know I wanted until right now.
I got
for those if you two don't know, Tamagotchi is M's character in his main D&D campaign. And he's a changeling artificer.
I thought you were talking about those toys or the roulette guy who gives us stuff.
No. His other character's name is Haribo Tamagotchi.
That is where his name comes from, though. The future naming convention we made up for people's future names is company related, and so his name Haribo Tamagotchi is in fact a direct correlation to the Haribo candy company and the Tamagotchi digital thing that we used to play with. 100%.
I mean, who doesn't love fucking gummy bears and little digital creatures you can kill?
I tried to come up with his family was supposed to be wealthy, but old money that has lost out on a lot of its money, and so that felt really good for the Tamagotchi line, right? But Nintendo's about to drop the Switch too, and they're going to be market leaders for the next 3 to 5 years. It's going to be the next game-breaking game system. I'm going to buy it on day one, baby.
It's going to be the only console that has a new console.
I'm going to buy it on day one. I'm going to put it right inside of itself, and I'm going to look at it anyway. I'm going to open up my old Switch and put it into my new Switch because it can fit inside of it.
Did you hear about the fact that it might not be backwards compatible with Switch games?
It is.
It is going to be 100% backwards compatible with all Switch games.
Oh, because the thing I saw... Sorry for getting off track, but the thing I saw, it says it's not going to be 100% optimized for all Switch games. But that was also before the official announcement.
I guess that's true. The official announcement said backwards compatibility, and that made me assume full backwards compatibility. But maybe there's some older Switch games that before
I think there's
came
a
out
list,
first that don't
just
work.
just like PS3 games that didn't work on PS5.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Okay. So
PS3
there's probably some.
They could also just say that and be like, "Well, we told you not everything would work in case there's a bug they haven't found yet." So
I mean, honestly, still though, that's the way it goes. I mean, that's just the unfortunate way it goes. That's why you don't sell your Switch right away, so you can still play those old games. But Switch 2
I just still want to be able to play with you if you're on your Switch 2 and I'm on my Switch. That's what I want.
I know. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know how cross-platform will work. If what if we're playing
both on Mario Kart 8?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Will we be able to play Mario Kart 8 together? Is a great question.
But Mario Kart 9 has 24-person races.
Yeah, sure.
Who the hell has 24 friends?
While we're fucking talking, right? No one has 24 friends. First of all, that's for streamers. Second of all,
I have 24 friends.
Yeah, that's for streamers. Second of all,
probably.
Did you see the magnetic connectors? When I was told about that, I was like, fuck yeah, super stoked. But there's a microchip in the side that you have to slide in. It's not just magnet to magnet.
It's so flimsy that's gonna, I feel break it so easy.
It's gonna break day one, dude, for sure. Little Timmy's gonna finger that thing and snap it right off. Man. Anyway, I'm excited for sure. But
how did that go again? What did little Timmy do?
He broke it.
If I was good with fucking like Photoshop and recording things, that would have been fucking awesome.
He broke it.
Thanks to the magic of editing, you will never know that happened.
Yeah. No, yeah. Or it'll be in the post-credit scene. Anyway,
I bet we would have one hell of a blooper reel.
Yeah, right. Yi, did you roll for mind as well?
I did. I got nat 1, -1.
Oh! Ooh! Yeah, this is not what he does. I'm gonna say that you have breathing apparatuses to bring 2 more people down for not very long, like an hour before you think it starts breaking down. But Davenport is actually going to try to make an argument that he should be one to go down.
Question.
Yes.
Going back to the future, before we came to this plane, we had the bubble spheres that we used to transport off of the cloud city type thing we were on. Do we have that technology now? Do we have the ability to use bubble spheres that they could go in? Because if those things were able to transport through all of time and like the atmosphere.
What I'll give you, you know what? Because we want to set up for our future like play space. What I will give you is that it's not a breathing suit that they make, but they make like a very archaic version of those balls, more specifically to go underwater right now.
Maybe with like an hour of breathing time.
Right, exactly. Same thing. I think I'm gonna say that they're able to create one of these balls that 2 people can fit in and sort of pilot around. Right. It's not quite up to this level of like we're shooting it off into any kind of like thing. It's meant to be underwater, but like the 3 of you, if you had seen the future one, this is definitely like, holy shit, where she got that idea from. That's a great idea. I love that.
So just my thought with the group, Yi can fly. We have communication devices that would be able to work, right? So Tim and Davenport and I go under, me as Octopus, them in the ball. Ye kind of fly around and like be able to maybe make some sort of map of where things would be underwater. So if we have to go back down, we know exactly where we were, like in correlation to the surface.
So you don't get lost. Like
not trying to like keep Ye out of it, but
I mean, that's the NPC pitch at the moment is that Davenport is like I really think I want to go down there. I want to see what's going on. And I kind of know how to pilot this ship. I think the best. Tib helped me build it. I wish Yi had been more help. I would offer for you to go, Yi, but you kind of stepped out on this one.
I think that's fair.
You want the man who doesn't even know what 1 + 1 is right now to do a map?
We'll keep you on comms, and you could definitely chip in. But I think I desperately want to be down there. I mean, I think that with that, you're still a part of this, right? I just want to make sure I'm down there and a part of this. I guess with that, we could switch easily because I could be on the comms.
I'm just saying, the man who does the map or the man who doesn't know how to do the math. Either way,
well, you know what? Oh, shoot, that's such a good idea. Maybe you could relay it to Lucretia. Lucretia's like, oh, I could do a map for sure. The NPCs are like getting out all the mapping equipment. They're like, you tell us, Yi, and we'll get it together.
Yi just hands over and goes to fly off, do something else.
Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. I was gonna say basically you could be a part of this conversation, just physically you're not here because you're on comms, right? Like that is the only difference. But if you want to hand off your thing, they can be on comms and you can still fly off, and we can do another thing for you for sure.
Yeah, Yi's just gonna go. You know what? This sounds boring. Here's my radio. I'm gonna go do my own shit.
I'm gonna go loot. I love it. All right, cool. Yi floats off. Well, I will definitely come back and ask you what you're up to while they're doing their thing down here. I love that.
No, don't.
The 3 of you, Davenport and Tim, in the sort of underwater ball bot. You got a couple little arms to maneuver things around, and Squid Oric.
I flop myself on top of the ball as we go down with my
Head
tentacles,
down?
just kind of
Perfect,
just
like
kind of
it has
drape over
hair.
the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm in mullet form.
Mullet form, good.
2 tentacles in the front, 6 in the back.
You guys find your way down to a fully flooded chamber, with a. There's twists and turns. Down here, I mean, the city is destroyed, mostly by the pressure of all this water over the period of time. But throughout these ruined like corridors and down deep into this, seemingly this specific temple, in the lowest catacombs of what used to be this temple, you can see the broken down walls that lead out into now just sort of ocean, I guess, or like the rest of the river. But in this lowest catacomb, you find this massive glowing crystal. You can see all of these shapes sort of floating around inside of it. After a few moments, you see a sort of a ball of light float down and through the floor, and straight into the crystal. They hover around themselves for a moment, and another one leaves and floats out and back up through that space that it floated through. Standing in front of this crystal, its feet firmly clamped into the stone, keeping its position, is a pretty large... if you recall, like, the imposing form of Roswell, like in this plate mail suit of armor, like that, but kind of, it's a robot. It's just this big, bulky robot that as you enter the room, its head actually, like, clicks up into place and swivels through the water, little air bubbles flowing up as it does. Only one of its eyes alight, but it looks at your form as you enter the room, because you guys are just, like, one form at the moment. And it just sort of regards you quizzically for a brief few moments before you hear a patchy sort of radio static over your comms, and you hear a, "Why, hello. What are you doing here?"
Tim, I'm an octopus right now, so you have to take the lead on comms.
Guess
I
that's
don't
true.
even know what we're looking for. I was trying to calm the baby down. What are we looking for?
There's a giant robot, and there's like a big crystal in a room that we had entered.
Yeah, so this
It
big
looks like the
crystal
robot's kind of like guarding the crystal.
Is the power source that you guys are after. Davenport seems to be sort of struck by it. He's staring at it. He's writing some stuff down in his notes real quick.
So I guess I would just kind of say we're looking for the power source, right? Yeah. So I would just kind of say we're looking for the power source down here. We heard that there might be a power source to find.
Oh, sure. It says over a staticky radio signal. I'm sure that you can see it behind me. And it sort of reaches back and taps a big arm on it. But trying to figure out how to say it in like from its point of view, but I'm struggling with like sort of the personal POV at the moment. So I'm going to launch into like the concept of what it says. It asks you, no, because you guys have spoken to a lot of the people here at this point. It says that it has knowledge of you. They actually share a collective consciousness. It's been watching you as it's through pretty much any of its eyes at this point. They have made this decision in the past through the beast of the ring, which again, through this conversation, is just a name for them at this point. but they made the decision to store as many souls as they could within this crystal before the plague overtook the last bit of life. And because it was done so late, because their focuses initially were on saving the wealthy and the high class, it was a little too late, and all they could really save was about 150 souls before the plague overtook even the wealthy, hidden off in their bunkers. And it questions what you guys would intend to do with that power. They have always been a group, and they vote as a group. They voted as a group to come into this situation. And they are curious as to what you would do with that power.
I'd like to think that we would probably, because our goal is to like save all these planets we go to, right?
I think that that's a question for you to tell me.
Yeah, I would think that's our goal, is to save most of these planets using the spark of creation that we took. So I mean, I guess I would say, well, I would think that our goal with any power that we had would be to, find a way to potentially maybe cure this plague and bring these people that you've stored in this power source back to life. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that to him without giving too much away.
It responds with sort of a sense of brevity. They did this to basically become immortal, and through their eyes right? Like, they have succeeded in what they intended. And so, as far as they're concerned, whatever this is that is coming could not be worse than what they have faced. They have faced a 99.9% wipeout, right, of their planet's population, and are the 100 people or souls that remain here, right? So their sense of cataclysm is sort of dulled at this point, right? Like, that means nothing to them. They have saved themselves already, right? Is what they say. Davenport comes in, however, a little bit stronger. He cuts off the controls. And I'll say that you can hear this through the vibrations on the bubble choric, right? Like, you could still understand the conversation. But Davenport argues, he says, Tim, we have to get this thing. We have to take this with us. The Hugger cannot get its hands on a power like this.
As Davenport says that, I slowly start to just disengage myself from the top of the bubble and start to float upwards about 5 feet above the bubble.
How do you feel, Tim?
I mean, we also need it to save essentially our world, right? Because we're in this other place.
Well,
so
this is not the light of creation in front of you. I will say.
Yeah, this is a power source, though, right? It's like
It's something that is allowing them to basically store and encode their souls into a data bank, right? And then they can, it seems, I guess from what you've learned, they can come to and fro this data bank at will and try to kind of trade out. So they only have so many robot bodies up there in that city. And every now and then they just sort of trade out and they let someone else go out into city for a while, go to lunch with their friends, right? Sleep in a bed, whatever that is, right? But yeah, that's this source. That's what Davenport is arguing. I don't know that it'll help us get home or that it'll help our world. I mean, of course it could. Of course this power would be wonderful if we get it back home. But the hunger can't get this. The hunger can't. It consumes millions of souls.
So, I guess could I explain a little bit about what the hunger is? Because we all have knowledge of that because we went through it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you've had 17 cycles of engaging with this thing that you guys have begun to call the hunger. It just consumes more than the world you're on. It consumes everything in their plane.
Yeah, so I'll just explain to him what's going to happen if they don't, right? Say, hey, if you don't do anything, it won't just be like the souls that you'll have to worry about. It'll be this entire plane of existence. So that's kind of why we need the power supply.
I would like you to give me a heart roll. Try to connect with this thing.
No, that's such a terrible stat for me. Actually, it's not. It's a +1, but it's not my best. 9?
I am Ron Burgundy.
I am Ron Burgundy?
That's a 9.
Yeah. Success, but at a cost. Let's see. Over the course of this conversation, I think Davenport interjects at a moment and says, look, I'm sorry, but we've been through this. Oh, boy. He spends a moment of time 17 times at this point, and the only way you survive is if we get our hands on a very specific thing, and we have not. And this, unfortunately, is not it. But what is chasing us, we cannot allow it to get its hands on this. So I'm so sorry. We're going to have to do something about this. And Loop even comes on at some point because they're listening, right? Back in the ship. And she argues the opposite. It turns into like a big crew argument. Loop is arguing like, look, oh man, I got to get down there. You guys cannot do this. You cannot hurt and like kill all these people just for this concept. They live here, they do this. We failed, but we can't just kill them and take the crystal to not make it stronger, right? This is the fight, I guess, that has begun to be had. And eventually, you are cut off by the static returning. And the robot returns. And the robot returns and states that they have heard what you're saying, and their lives ended. Here's what it is. Okay, I got it. Their lives ended a long time ago, and they have heard what you're saying, and they feel the urgency behind that, and they agree more or less to have you take the crystal. If what you're saying is true, then the lives of us 150 souls or whatever in the 100 bodies we're allowed to populate for the rest of, eternity is not worth the lives of whatever that could mean. And they ask you for 24 hours, I guess, to say goodbye to one another and to move off in their own sort of moment. And Davenport attempts a little bit to argue like urgency, because you guys know that the hunger needs to be coming very soon. It's never, I think it's always a year, but at the end of a year, like, how has that been passing for this this world, like it's a year in your time, but do the days move differently, whatever. So like you try to keep up with it, and you know that it's coming in the next couple days, and he tries desperately to argue like, we don't have time for that, we don't have time for that. But through your role in Loop's connection, you guys come to it that we can't kill these people. We gotta let them go off on their own sort of way. So you give them the 24 hours. Things get a little dark and hectic in that time. Leading up to that moment, though, Yi, what you flew off from the ship? What did you go to get up to while they're down in this thing? It almost turned physical. I'm glad. Like Court got ready. Court got ready for it.
Shit, you never gave me the opportunity. I was getting fucking like I was gonna cover up his eyes and shove my tentacle in his fucking eye socket.
You were ready for it. I'm super down. I liked it. You prepped. Yeah. No, there's still an outcome to come for that. I just want to get Yi back onto the catch up before we do that.
Man, he's out gallivanting trying to find scones.
He is. What are we up to out here, Scone RP?
No, that's Tim's thing. He's gonna go.
It always circles back to scones.
It's not Scone RP, OG. That's me.
What did you get up to when you left the ship?
He went to go find a military base to see what he could see that's around there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a body. I'm gonna give you a body roll to just fucking dig through the ruins of the first military base you come across. Something that seems like a fortified place, right? The first fortified building or group. See, this is what you do best. You're able to dig through rubble. Yeah, I mean, you spend these 48 hours like you huffed off from the ship. Not really, but that's just you went off from the ship. You left your comm behind, and you messed off for about 48 hours. And most of it was digging through this rubble. And I think what you're going to receive is another asset for doing so. You dig up. I mean, you'll tell us what you dig up whenever we use the asset, but you dig up something really cool. I actually, you know what? I'm curious in this moment. What did you dig up that's worthy of an asset? It doesn't have to be this item when you use it later, for sure. I'm just you dig up something cool.
When they get back, they're just going to see Yi with a rocket launcher.
A full RPG launcher.
It has only one round, but he has it. He
shoves it into his bag, and you see a +1 asset appear above it, and then disappear slowly. He tries to pull the rocket launcher out later, but all of a sudden, what do we need? Yeah, you guys are all back on the ship, and there's a little bit of tension, I think, with the outcome of that roll. You get what you wanted, but at a cost. And that cost in this case is that Loop seems very disappointed in your crew. She explains that they got to go out on their own terms, and they definitely got into this situation on their own terms. But that she feels very uncomfortable with the concept, I guess, that she argued before, before all of that went down 24 hours before. And that is that, she says that we cannot be going into realities to kill them in order to save them, because that isn't doing anything. We're just doing what the hunger is doing. And the fact that it ended up with you at the crystal, I think what that means is that Loop is just sad. She's sad, and she feels disconnected, and she feels some kind of way. She kind of goes a little, I don't know, what do you call it? When people, They like close themselves off. She kind of closes herself off a little bit, including to Tim in this moment and in the preceding bit of time. She seems very dejected by what has come out of this. But you escape off as the tendrils of the hunger begin to make their way into this plane. Unfortunately, no light of creation, but this is an inanimate object, and we will have to figure out what the fuck this is about later. But you escape with this weird crystal that giant, I'm going to say it takes up a little space in the back of your spaceship. Back. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Well, he's starting to cry, so
no, yeah, 100%. I thought I heard a burp up, and I thought I just wanted to make sure you didn't want to burp. You didn't get burped up.
This is great timing. I would love to do a bio break myself.
Let's do a bio break. We're just coming out of this cycle. We're gonna circle back into another cycle when we return. While I figure out what that cycle is. Incorrect. This is the first one that gets switched. It's crazy to me that up until this point, you guys have stuck early on. I made a call I was like, well, I have to relate these characters because at some point, like, this character went through this, and I kind of am curious, like, what character that would mean goes through it for us. And for the most part, early on, I tagged you guys to characters, and it has made sense every time this stuff has come up to be like, yeah, it is still that character. Like, yeah, Korik has done all the things that this character has done or fills the same role in this moment. This is the specific one that it can't be that. It can't be the person that they're like, and this person for this. No. No. It's perfect. Holy fucking shit. Amazing. Actually, I'm gonna run to the bathroom too if you can hear me. Sorry.
Do, 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 do.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, back for now.
Welcome back.
He's fussing again already, so please.
Oh,
We took a bio break, so I'm stepping out away for a minute.
Yeah. It's too early to feed him again, so
You're definitely right with the set of lungs on him.
Yeah, no, we could hear him through your mic.
well, I was holding him.
Yeah.
And now he's crying again. Buddy, we can't always hold you. Work. Calm yourself down.
Okay.
You gotta give him a little credit. He's only 5 days old, man, or 5 days old, 4 days old.
He's like 3 days old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today's Tuesday. He was born on 4 days old.
Today is also like, especially because like the next part is that a good portion of this I would love commentary from the others while we're doing this, because it's just important to the story. Everyone's going to get like a little kind of little solo specified journey. And I can't speak for the others, but I know that for the first one up, it's going to be a lot more like that person's experience, and the others aren't technically there. However, I still think it's fun to get commentary, so like we can pop out of the scene and talk about it as a group, because it's always cool and important. And in between those moments, your characters would be talking about it. We're going to do this little scene a couple times, and in between those scenes, you would be talking about how each scene went. But during the scene, technically you're alone, so there will be little moments for each of us that are a little more specified. But for this first person who is not toxic in this case, it's not, it's great that we get to be here still and like hang out, and that you're taking care of a baby, because it's, so we still want, when we get to those moments, just be aware that like I
have my headphones
everyone's
on.
got some solo moments
hear.
coming up for sure.
All good.
So we're gonna skip only one of them here because they put it in. I can't. There is no reason, in my opinion, for a beach episode in fucking anything unless your tension is super fucking high. Beach episode is only ever fan service, and we don't have a reason for fan service, nor are the tensions incredibly high. We move through each of these at a joyous rate, so it's not like we're getting crushed out here. Yeah, I'm just skipping the beach episode one because it, even in the like listen through it, it is literally just for like a little bit of relief before they continue on their journey. And I don't really, we don't need a beach episode. We have had months of relief. That's more of it. We've taken 3 months off. We don't really need to like pause in action for a beach episode.
No.
I okay.
Think most of the beach episode would be Tim and Korik trying to take the rocket launcher away from Yi anyway.
We can imagine the rocket went off during that beach episode at some point for sure. You definitely don't lose the asset, of course, but the rocket went off. We're gonna fast forward a little bit to cycle 30. Things have been going pretty crazy. You have gotten the orbs here and there. You've lost it most of the times, right? It's pretty rare that you guys get the orb. It is hard. Again, it's the shape of a basketball thrown onto a planet. Like, how do you find that? In the luck that you're nearby and can see it, then yay. But otherwise, how do you find the basketball? And that's what it's proven to be time and time again. Every now and then, where it falls, it affects. And sometimes it affects things greatly. And you're able to get in and find that affectation, like in the mushroom world. to you guys at this point, fucking 28 years ago, because each of these is a year. Cycle 30 is your 30th year out in this space. You're not aging physically, but you're 30 years older mentally, right? This world that you come down onto is thriving. It is filled to the brim with life and people and activity. They seem to be living in, upon first Passover is pretty relative peace. The massive cities, but for the ease of you could imagine that a massive city is like nice and like happy because it seems like there's a lot of people, but you guys don't even see like trash on the streets. You don't even see like people hanging out in alleyways, right? Like everyone seems to be doing a job, enjoying life and having a place to live as far as like what you're seeing, right? Everything seems great here. And even between all the nations, you guys pass over, there doesn't seem to be conflict. It just seems to be pretty happy. People living in some harmony of some kind, trading as they need and existing as they see fit. You guys settle on one of the nations at some point to pass over. This nation actually is where you have seen the light land. That's why you've settled on this nation. The light has fallen down into it, one of the oldest ones called Tesseralia, which seems to be very well built up, but again, very harmonious, like white marble cities that everyone seems to be very happy and pleasant in. As you land down, you're greeted warmly by the governor, who informs you that as you guys tell them, you're here for the light of creation. You've gotten used to it at this point. You're not hiding anything, right? Like, this is before the days of being a secret organization, the Bureau of Balance, where the Voidfish is like keeping info. You don't know to hide it. And at this point, it's easiest just to say what you need, because we have a year to save your asses, and if you don't give us the fucking light of creation, then you're dead, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know what? Actually, in 30 years, just curious about from each of you, what is one way that you have spent a year trying to save this planet not being the light of creation? Like, what's one thing you've tried that wasn't the light of creation? Because you got to try something, right? Like, if you don't have the light of creation, I'm going to save these people, I have to. What did you do?
I tried to fight the hunger by just fucking spike growthing that bitch. I tried raging as most I could. I was like, yo, you punch me in the face and steal my wallet, to get as angry as I could, and just tried to just fucking rage mode that bitch, and I got destroyed. I fucking evaporated into absolutely nothing.
Tried physically fighting it when the hunger came down. I do like that.
I tried to create, to expand myself as much as I could to try to protect as much things, and just fucking got eviscerated.
I mean, we'll even say that year, like, that's what you spent your year doing, preparing for, and you also prepared whatever civilization you were there for, right? Cycle 21, whatever.
It was a cycle where the planet was rich with vegetation, and I spent the year bonding and talking to the plants, and got them to even try to just have the entire planet just to rebel,
and it did. And it did that year. Whatever successes, whatever abound occurred, the planet revolted when the hunger came down. It was my
stay-on fucking spirit bomb, and it failed.
Exactly, and it failed. It felt good as your team is flying away, because this is a Korik. I have this thing. I've been preparing for this thing. You guys have helped me train whatever we needed to train, prepare in whatever way. But as your team flies away, they watch Sure, the first tendril that comes down, it seems weird, you're doing some fighting, but as they fly out further, your core is the planet's waving and fighting back, but in your one little area, do you make somewhat of a difference for a little bit, but your energy you don't have enough. You just don't have infinite energy. You can't put it in there forever. And it's seemingly, you're fighting off a pillar, But when the second pillar crashes down upon you, like immediately you have lost. It like literally lands atop you, right? And you are eviscerated by this tendril that then quickly sweeps over the land space. They may fight, but as you've learned, and we'll say that was much earlier. I like that being earlier. As you learned really early on, you cannot.
I want to say it was
this
in the
thing.
teens, like
Yeah,
because it was like at least maybe 13 or 14. Because it's like, okay, we spent 10 plus years trying it this way, and finally I was fed up, and I was just like, I like from the moment we arrived at the planet,
I'm gonna kick its ass.
I was just like, I was communing with nature, and it took a toll on me. Like, I would like to even say maybe even on like the next 3, my mind was not there. Like, they had to snap me out of the funk. I was just down in a rut. I was depressed, dark, and just like, how the hell are we even going to be able to do this?
Ooh,
Like,
on cycle 14, you poisoned half of your crew because you didn't. That's when Yi died to a friend poisoning him because you're like, there's no point in going through this anymore, guys. And then it took you a year to snap out of that, right? You were the one. You poisoned your whole crew and you're like, there's no point in living through this. And then you got them out at the end of 14, but like, and then everyone's like, hey, snap on the shoulder, stop that, get better. We need to
the knowledge of the mushroom that just like that bedriddened me. I spent a year recreating that potion or that poison, and I just fucking like, Yi, what's your favorite snack in the world?
Oof.
Yi's favorite snack would have to be Butterfingers.
Okay, cool. I injected this poison straight into the middle of this Butterfinger, and I just I got like fucking 500 Butterfingers and scones for Tim. It was Butterfinger scones, and I poisoned the fuck out of everyone.
What about the other two? How did you attempt to fight the hunger during your 30 years so far?
Yi had been building slowly, like with his seed he had in himself, he slowly had used that to kind of build a cult around him and kind of convince people to follow what he says, kind of a suicide attack type of thing. Like how people will believe you no matter kind of what you say.
Yeah, using the power of religion. I'll say that like during that year what you learn is that when you are able to get a group of people to believe in the things that you tell them, and when that's maybe you'll discover someday it doesn't have to be, but currently it feels when that's backed by reality, that power grows. Like you felt just so much more power of Hadar in that year. And we're able to utilize it at the end of the year. But in the end, it turns into it sounds like just a total slog against whatever hunger comes down, right? And even the belief of many. We'll say you convince a city, right? To really get behind you. This is the only way out, and you convince them of that. And that is still, like, it just isn't enough. Like, the power of belief and the power of, like, the singular belief that we can survive, and like the power that provided to your abilities, like that still wasn't enough to overcome that year. Hadar doesn't seem to care too much.
Kind of like Korik, Yi had come like a mad king with power that for those next couple years of why he died is because he kind of tried to take over the ships several times over.
Yeah, he had to be pushed into an ocean and so a shark ate him. He had to be, kicked out into space. Like, the year you came back, you're like, I'm the boss now, and they kicked you out the fucking airlock. What's up?
Can I eat him as a shark to kill him twice?
Oh, fuck yeah. The shark that ate you was Korik. That's incredible, too. I love that. Tim, how have you what have you stepped into attempt at some point, right? We know it's not going to work in the overall scheme, but like, what do you passionately get behind to stop the hunger or to save a plane?
So I tried to fight an entire like plant planet. Your headphones were off for this, and like I tried to like commune with the entire planet to like have my like Iron Man, I am Iron Man moment to save everyone while you guys go off planet type thing, and then I just died horribly. So That's what I tried. So
We tried fighting it, and we tried bringing religion to stop it.
Is it a female?
Are you just going to try seduce the darkness?
Yeah, of course. Why not? That tracks for me.
You just make the College of Winterhold for bards and try seduce it.
what form? What form does the darkness take?
Why is he surprised? What is I'm surprised? I feel like he shouldn't even be surprised.
You know, it is surprise. There's a lot of like changes I would want to give man to that thought process. That's very fun for me.
Oh no.
Hey, I told you we could have an entire episode of
How
just
do
toxic
you-
seducing things.
You don't know. You don't know. What you don't know. So what do you do about that? You're gonna try to flirt with this thing?
God,
I'm just
I
curious,
have my
like,
vision
what-
of how this
how
is
do
going
you-
down.
What's your thought? I like the idea of that. I can't quite yet take the stepping stone to figure out how you flirt with it. Right?
I don't know. I would think I would flirt with it to try to convince it to not kill everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my question is, do you want to like are you just gonna shout at it? Are you trying to find a way to send it waves of intention? Like what? Yeah. What's your? You doing this magically? You gonna build a big speakerphone so that you can shout louder? Which is cool. Like any which way, we gotta try 100 different things. So
I don't know.
Quietly check chat too.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do. The top of a mountain naked, like a Florida man yelling at a hurricane. Oh my god.
That's what I
dude.
envision. You're just standing there, all 4'2" of yourself.
Except I'm a hill dwarf and I'm really short.
Yeah, all 4'2" of yourself, or are you like 3'9"? Like, what's your height? And so you're standing at the top, and like your magic is like surrounding you, but it looks like confetti is just swirling around you.
I'm 4 feet tall. My character is 4 feet tall. Yeah, you enjoying the D&D?
it doesn't notice you. If that's the case, there's just. And
No,
maybe that's the confusion of the year, right? Like you spend the
wouldn't
year
do
trying to
that.
figure out how to fucking flirt with this thing, how to project your magic out in the flirtatious manner. Like, I don't
feel
know.
Until this point, Tim has never been rejected by a single being. How does he handle
I
rejection?
I have proof that I have not been rejected.
That's true. We do have video proof that you have
But
never
no-
been rejected, but
No,
I think
hold on. This is also back in the. We're now in the back. Like we're
I
in
mean,
the past.
literally, I have proof I've never been
Your
rejected.
sex
I've been
trophy
picked-
doesn't exist in D&D right now.
Yeah, we are 70 years now in the past or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep up with time. Damn. Okay, that's all good stuff. Oh man. You know what? Loops on board. This is before the situation in which you felt like you guys got the crystal. And you guys try to send your sex waves out into the universe to try to, like, I don't know, fucking horn up on the hunger as it encroaches. And I think there's just no response. Even if you had some sort of, I don't know, horny amplifier.
Horny amplifier?
Dude, I don't
love
know.
that,
It's
whatever
hard
that
to
is.
figure out how you flirt with a force of cataclysm. Like,
What if?
that possibility could come up in the near future. But at the
What if-
moment,
Like, if it was a combo and Yi got his god involved and we had some sort of god level orgy.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You keep
it
my god
just
out of
doesn't-
this, sir.
You keep my
Wow.
god out of your orgies.
You keep my god out of this, I'll keep myself out of your god.
Maybe Toxic is very confused. He's like giving me side eye, like, what are
I'm
you talking?
confused.
He's
But
too
not
young
really.
for this. This
I
is
mean,
mature
honestly,
content only.
we have to try it all, right? There's when there's an
I
eternity
imagine-
ahead of you.
I imagine the hunger like is encroaching, sees Tim and Luke going at it, and does that thing like that you do with your plate when you don't want to eat something, takes and just kind of shoves it off the edge of the world, like gets
Mhm.
rid of it.
Scoop, scoop, scoop. Eats plain.
Like drops it on the floor for the dog to lick up.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Hadar's like, I don't want them. Incredible. It doesn't work. But we find ourselves in cycle 30, Tesseralia. They tell you that they have, as the light of creation has fallen, they've collected it and they have it. And their sole reason that there is so much peace in the world is because of the monastery. It began the push for like the tearing down of, I don't know, all this conflict and this war, and it worked here for some reason somehow, as it doesn't seem to work. Give me one sec.
Is the monastery housing the light?
Yes. Well, they seem to be. I mean, you don't see it. You saw it fall into this nation, and as you
or the monastery that has been brought up around.
Oh yeah, no.
They worshiping the light, or
no, right? I see what you're saying. Yes, no. They already existed here before the light fell, and then have. Even if they weren't the ones to collect it, pretty much immediately, whoever collected it just gave it to the monastery because that's their purview. They're running things. Yes. And the governor leads you to the monastery, no problem. Abbess Oriana is the person that greets you. She comes out and she explains that she's the spiritual leader here at the monastery and will give the light of creation to your crew if one of your members will join their monastery for the year, learn the ways of peace. And the whole time she's saying this, she is staring at Korik. And at some point, I think like fucking Lucas or Angus, even says like, well, I'd love to spend some time here, and she says, no, I think I'm more interested in you, and points this time now directly at Korik.
Oh man. As opposed to one No. As opposed to 1 full year, how about 10 months training and studying and learning at the monastery, and allowing during that time as well my team the ability to come and go as they please in the monastery with some restrictions. Obviously, there's some areas, maybe areas of prayer, that would be off limits just to those in the monastery. But the ability to help us study the light, and then upon my 10-month completion, we get to take it. But we'll share with you any studies that we have.
She alters her pitch to say that if you can prove yourself in that 10 months' time, then she'll grant it to you in 10 months. But until they know that you're not beings of war, they're not going to give you this light of creation. All right,
then I agree to go with the monastery for 10 months.
Oh, fuck yeah, you do. Korik is going to go off on his own little thing, but for this year, while Korik is like cloistered into the monastery, you guys are more than welcome. I mean, they seem to be like, even she seemed very confident in that interaction. Like they seem confident that peace is what is happening here. And so you guys are able to come and go as you please. They don't show you to the light of creation. It's probably very heavily guarded. But like, you are free in this culture, and It is at peace. Like, you are treated well.
I'm gonna try to study how to hit on this thing Nightmare Before Christmas montage style. Like, just gonna lock myself in a lab and I'm gonna figure it out.
You Sir Isaac Newton this shit?
Yeah, no, I'm Jack Skellingtoning it like when he's trying to figure out how Christmas works.
Oh, do you just go around singing "What's this" like every 5 seconds?
Straight. No. When he's in the laboratory, like melting candy canes. And...
I will give you a shot on this. It's narratively weird coming up that it's possible that there's a shot on this, and I will possibly give you a shot on this, but I'm gonna need a 10 or I'm gonna need a hard success.
Oh, please,
because
if there's ever a time,
it's not your thing. It's gonna be someone else's thing, so you're gonna have to like get in on their thing.
Oh, this is 6. This is a bummer.
Okay. You spend your year in the text and the books. You're learning about this this society. I'll give you a little bit of information early. Unfortunately, with a 6, you fail. But
I know,
when you fail, you get to mark. I'm gonna scroll up really quick. Is there a fail here? No scores given. They fail. Yeah. Okay. Nope. You fail. Unfortunately, this is bad for you.
Oh no.
I think how it's bad for you is that you just too toxic waste your year. Not to Tim. To Tim you spent time reading and studying, right? But that's really all you do. You don't learn anything new. You don't there are books here and they don't really want you to take their books. They don't seem super like if you have removed one at some point, they're like, "Hey, bring that back when you come back if you don't mind, whatever." But this is like a checkout system. It's just there's this huge system of like trust and respect here. So you spend your time and you read up. I'll give you some narrative information early, and that is that you learn about this power called parlay, in which.
Yo, you voting for a new Pirate King? Let's go.
Right.
Jack Sparrow.
No, but they have perfected this weird
and I went to sports betting
power that allows the user of Parlay to summon another entity into sort of an extra dimensional conversation space in which they can converse one-on-one. However, the user is opening themselves up to assault. They can be attacked and even killed in this space, while the person they bring in to speak to them cannot. They are free of form. It's sort of like an ultimate act of like peace, right? Like if we're gonna be in this space, if I summon you into this space, I have to hope that you're not gonna kill me, and that's the trust that we're giving you to talk. But you learn about this ability. You learn it's a very secretive ability, and that there definitely aren't any books in this library that's going to teach you how to do it. But man, if you could you maybe flirt with something? Yee, what do you do with this year?
This year, so what does the town look like at the moment, I guess?
Oh, it's opulent. Big, opulent, like white marble buildings, gold roofs, like people in robes walking with books, and I don't know. You imagine like
it's a big scholar town.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a big scholarly, friendly, open. Nothing seems defensive ever until you like look at the vault, right, when there's guards. But that's the only like there's very few things that need guards in a society where trust and respect is abundant.
What places look like they have guards?
The vault in the monastery. The monastery pretty much is one of the only places with guards. But that's just to protect like their knowledge, I guess. And in fact, I think it's just for show at this point, because when I'm thinking about it, like if they've existed in a society without conflict like that for a long time, that may need to go down. But I think that they have put these guards up while strangers are around.
Okay.
is maybe what you can learn pretty easily off the cuff.
Okay. Yi is gonna go build a underworld.
You're doing what?
He's built pretty much. He's going to try and create the mafia. Because Yi, as a rogue, always knows there's going to be people who hide their deepest thoughts of hatred and everything. Even if this place has it, there's always going to be those thoughts, and he's going to try to use those to build a mafia.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Give me a heart roll. That's hey, here's a peaceful city. How can I black market? Black market. Can I put a black market in it?
That is a 7.
Man, I think over the
It's
course
a gray
of
market.
This year, yeah, I think over the course of this year, what you develop is in some of these cities, not in this main capital city of whatever I called it, Tesseralia, but there's some outlying smaller cities that some people, you find a way to target some the lazier people, because that to me is it's not a sign of respect and trust. Some people would prefer to do less, and some people are super energetic and are on the go. That's like a mental thing, I think, over a physical thing, right? Like there's a type A personalities versus type B personalities. You find a bunch of the type B personalities who, while the society does not really do it, would take an easier job if it meant they could be provided for and weren't working as hard. I think those are the only people you're going to be able to target here. And you develop the sort of beginnings of that. They're going to have to go through some badness first, even as a whole culture. But you develop the street urchin kind of vibe, right? Where there's people that may mug you from an alley. Where there weren't people in the alleys when you guys got here, there are now, every now and then, some people in the alleys that you need to look out for, right? There's probably not guards on the streets yet or whatever, but there's begun to be maybe a mugging. Maybe someone stole something, and it didn't lead to violence, but they said, hey, give me everything you got, and the other person was like, well, fuck. Okay, sure, here you go. And that has, over the course of the year, led to some weird levels of distrust every now and then. Less hellos. Now it's 90% of people say hello to you. But if you left that alive, the mafia's coming one day. I'll give you an experience.
I just imagine Yi going over to somebody saying, hey, you want to make cheap money? Here's a knife. That guy's got money.
That guy's got money. Go get it from him. He's got money inside of him. Cut it out.
Oh no, he knows he's not ready to do that yet. He needs to wait to build that part of the mafia.
Crazy. Yeah, you get one experience from that. Man, developing some thievery. All right.
I love that.
No, yeah. That's right up your alley. I was shocked by both of your choices actually in this one. Korik, you spend this year learning about this, also learning about parlay and this ability. And
before the light of creation arrived here, what type of monastery was this? What did they study? Was it what was the main focus of the monastery?
Well, since it's been here, the light of creation has been in a vault. They recognize its power, but they don't feel like they need it. They have progressed to a point where they're pleased. They're not looking for taller skyscrapers or flying cars or a better magic or guns. They're
So this is gonna sound weird. She said she wanted me to prove that we weren't here for militaristic purposes or
violence or whatever.
Violence. Yeah. But
aggression.
Yeah. I would love to see, like, what are they studying? Because when I think monastery, I go to like monks, and something like this is almost making me think like Doctor Strange-esque type shit, right?
Oh, I could see that. I bet, you know what? I bet there is some sort of like
So
there's definitely magic scholarly going on here.
I want to see what type of magic I could learn that could possibly be something that Lucretia then blocked him away, this knowledge. So, maybe when we come back, if we do succeed and things are,
if he wants to eat.
if
Yeah.
everything is completely like unlocked, then maybe I have like another random spell slot or a spell I didn't know about, or become proficient in like unarmed strike combat.
I see. Give me a mind roll to really pick up on these studies.
And all right, hold on. Dual monitor issues. D6 times 2. Can I use my lucky egg?
No, you don't have that.
Now, you did say, though, that we, like, how do I not have it, but we can bring stuff with us?
You can bring physical stuff because you're 70 years before you got the lucky egg. We're in your memory, right? Like, you're not... We have to play fuddle with the fact that you are a druid and can do some of the, like, changing into the animal shapes, but that's, like, the fuddleness of the abilities of it.
I reach into my prison wallet and I pull out what I thought was my lucky egg, and it was just a rock.
Yeah. Unfortunately, just no luck. I just, yeah.
I got a 6 with my +2. I get as far as learning how to shave my head.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, what you are gonna come to understand is that yes, still technically, there is an ability that she sealed away from you, and narratively, this will give you. You have still been the team healer, right? So this still narratively gives you the like know-how to cast those healing spells the way that you have. It's just second nature to you in 100 years, but maybe before now you weren't the healer, right? Maybe someone else was the medic, and now you have some know-how to really help out with that. But the ability that technically she's made you forget is this one called Parlay, that we just talked about with Toxic. That seems to be one of their biggest focal points of study. I like the idea of like all the monks in the yard doing like combat forms, right? Like that always looks really freaking cool. So why not have a little bit of that? There's some physical training involved. But
I can deal with it. It's I've perfected or worked on perfecting maybe fucking healing word or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One sec, fill in my bottle.
I'm back. He just needed to be fed.
Oh, good.
You're good. I rolled the not as bad as 2 1s, but I rolled bad.
What did I miss?
You did roll bad.
I tried to see if I could
trip.
train for the year with the monastery and the monks about maybe some sort since Lucretia like blocked a lot of our memories, I tried to see if I could get some sort of epic roll to learn some sort of badass technique or something that when we now go back to the present, when we go back to the future, and if our minds get fully opened up to use the full point of our abilities, I was basically just trying to find a way to like gain an extra like spell slot or a badass spell or something like that,
but instead he got narrative that you're a healer.
Yeah, like, oh, you learned how to put a band-aid on with one hand.
But you also are taught this ability of parlay. It takes this 10 months to like really get it over. a lot of different teachers, you know, at the monastery really diving into you with what this means and how to do it. Taught by so many different people. But the idea is that for graduation at the end of month 10, that you're going to have to perform this ability. Yeah. And summon an entity to create peace with.
So,
you have time to decide, like, you know that this is coming up at the end of 10 months. You talk with your crew about it a little bit, I guess. There's a little bit of pressure from, like, Davenport, you know, Lucretia. Well, she's a fucking scribe. From Davenport and, like, Loop to, well, let's hear what your thoughts are on this first. You know that you have this coming up for graduation.
I mean, I just don't know. Like, do I just have, like, is it almost like an astral plane that I put myself into then and pull something in with me and talk to them, but I leave my body unprotected so I can be damaged, right?
So yes, that, but also, so yes, you're bringing an entity of your choosing, into an extra dimensional pocket space where your spirit in this space is like open to harm. You can die. That entity could just strike you down, but you cannot harm them at all. And that is the, like, that is the understanding going into this, is like, that's how you open yourself up to trust. Because that's like what they're, you know, that's like how they came to this peaceful society, is like opening themselves up and saying, like, you can kill me, but I'm just here to talk. Let's talk out our differences. I can't hurt you. And that's how they came to this peace. And so that's what they know.
Now, I don't. So I'm just missing the fact of who do they want me to, like, to parlay with.
The monastery does not want you to parlay with anyone in particular. They just want you to. They want you to use this power and parlay with someone. In a lot of your studies, right? The reason they use it in their society is to parlay with people you have conflict with. So if you, like, you know, that's the idea behind the ability, or behind the ability, I guess, but behind the technique, that's the better word.
Okay. What's the like the restrictions of time or dimensional space of, like, do I have to, like, think of something and they're magically there? Does it have to be something I have to see? Like, how do I summon this other being?
They teach you the techniques of all of that, but I mean, as far as the mechanic of it goes, we'll talk about whatever this ritual looks like for Korik to do it, but, like, when you do it,
I was talking more or less, like, does it have to be something in this plane of existence right now, or could I be like, I want to parlay with...
According to the ability, that restriction is not given.
Like Yi in like from our original, like, episode 1 type of Yi.
Yeah, I mean that I guess that restriction is also not given.
Okay, cool. That was just me asking questions, because I still have no idea who the hell I want to parlay with on this, and I'm trying to see what I could.
You share that with the crew. Davenport, he has a suggestion. His suggestion is the hunger, and Loop gets weirdly excited about that too. I mean, at least as a shot, right? Like, if we could pull it into a space and talk with it, like, who cares if you fail? Like, we'll just bring you back.
If I fail, we do not get the light of creation. I have to prove myself to the monastery, so I need to pass this test of proving that I can parlay, and then they said they would give us the light of creation.
I guess, I mean, that might be true, but
So if I fail,
if we have a line in to chat with the hunger, like if you fail this time, yes, we've lost it, but then we can try again.
But if let's say I parlay with this squirrel and tell him, hey, I would love you to share your nuts with me. I'm proven that I can use the ability, and I'm not using it for war, violence, or havoc causing. They give us the light of creation. We leave this area, and then I can parlay with the hunger. And we have the light of creation.
Angus says, well, sir... He's a nerd. I'm not sure that you have conflict with the squirrel going into it.
I stepped on his tail on the way to work this morning.
Well, okay, but I just don't... You could always try it, of course, but I just don't... Like, it seems to be, like, conflict, right? Like, it seems to... They seem
I'm about to parlay with you if you keep this up right now.
Are we going to have a conflict?
I think so.
Okay, well, that was my 2 cents. Davenport says, I don't know, I sort of agree. I don't know, I sort of agree with him. 2 nasally characters. But you could always try. I just don't know. I don't know if you could try again. You know, if the squirrel isn't enough, have you also failed for just, like, not trying hard enough? You know,
is it a random thing because I don't know who to parlay with or like what the full, like, I don't know if they're just trying to see the understanding that I understand how to do this, and or do I have to resolve a conflict with parlay?
I will say that they want you to show that you can use parlay for what, like, I think they want you to solve a conflict with something. It doesn't, I'm not saying that they're not trying to, they don't know of a connection with the hunger. They're not trying to push you in to solve, like, your most important life conflict, but they have been pushing you for sure to, like, solve a conflict. That's the idea. I will also say that they will not know who you have spoken to.
Okay.
You're the only one that's going to be in that pocket dimension and the other entity you bring in. So they won't know who you have spoken to. They may know if you die. I'm not sure, Thanks. Yeah, they'll know if you die. You know that too, I think, going into it, for sure.
I want to bring Yee's god into the pocket dimension with me.
I don't. What? I guess we could always try the hunger again. Next cycle, right? We should try the hunger, I guess, at some point with this thing, if we could get the moment, because if we could talk to it. We don't even know yet if it would work, but if it works, I think it, is a starting place to figure out something. Yee, how do you feel about that pitch? What do you say to that?
Honestly, I say we just summon a rocket launcher and kill it.
Kill what?
I don't know. I just know we gotta deal with the hunger. We gotta summon somebody to talk to. Just summon your ex-girlfriend, worst case scenario, and deal with that.
You have an ex? You have a bad ex you could resolve things with?
After my parents died, I was kind of just hoard around a bit and never settled down.
Well, everyone's eyes go wide, and you hear a little whistle from the corner of the room.
Well, now you can go solve your family issues.
Why is everyone trying to dance around the point that I would love to have a one-on-one conversation with your god?
I mean, hey,
I don't mind you doing it. I just didn't bring it up because
So
nobody else did.
My thoughts on this. I pull Yi aside. All right, no one else can hear this. This is just a conversation between me and Yi. Tim could be there too if he wishes and desires. And because he told us about the time he tried to do all the religious stuff and trying to study, to try to see, but there was just not anything going on. I think that was when he rolled the double ones. So I was going to see if I could parlay with your god on behalf of the group to see if he or she or it has any insight on how to deal with the hunger, and if the gods wanted to get involved before the entire all plane of existences disappear.
That can work. I am out of game character. I have a question. Since my god is connected to my character's soul, would that technically also drag me to that meeting, or would it just be my god?
I mean, I think with all the knowledge together, that would just be your god, because it's not going to drag all of its other followers in. You're not the only follower of Hadar probably in the multiverse.
I figured not, but I wasn't sure if he can talk to my god at that moment, if it would bring me along because I have that connection at that moment.
I think that they're... I will give you the same role I gave Toxic, and that is I guess yours will be heart, though. A heart roll, but I need a 10 or above. I need a hard success for you to be able to make that connection when he goes in.
That's an 8.
Okay, unfortunately, it's just... you can feel that when this goes down, if this is the route that you want to take for your thing, Korik?
Yeah, I think so.
You can feel when it goes down the presence. You can feel, we'll say, more connected to Korik the moment that he goes into his ritual than before. It's probably a public thing open to friends and family or whatever, but you feel you feel the presence of Hadar kind of surround Korik for this, but no, you can't quite break into that space with that. Korik,
I wasn't trying to break in anyway.
No, not yeah. I just mean break the barrier of that inter pocket dimension, as extra dimensional space as it's called. What does this ritual look like, Korik, when you parlay?
So Alright, so I'm trying to wonder right now. I'm in the early-ish stage. Am I full Vine guide dude, man? No, right?
No, I think you're just animal druid, You turn into animals, but I think that's your spell area.
So I when I kind of do this, I almost essentially black out, but I take the form of I take the form of a bear, but no claws showing, no teeth, more it's not I didn't do it on purpose. As soon as I go into the meditation to start this, and I'm not even conscious of the fact, once I go into the realm, my body just maybe it's the last animal I turned into, so it, type thing. It could be.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and it's just something that my body's doing as part of the vulnerability of it.
Yeah, as you sit in this little circle of candles to do it, and when your head bobs off, his eyes open up, but they're glassy white, and then he shifts into a bear, but a lot slower than you've ever seen before. And then the bear does a little how an animal does when it circles a spot to get comfy really quick. still glassy-eyed the whole time, like that white glassy-eyed, and then it just like goes into a slumber, like a hibernation slumber.
Yeah, and just it's just there. I mean, maybe moving a little bit here or there, kind of like if you're tossing and turning while you're sleeping, but that's about it. It's
okay. You also get to pick what this like location, resembles. This location looks like.
It is going to look like the loading screen when you enter the Adamus in Assassin's Creed, where it's just the endless white, where you can constantly just run and jump.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the white void.
It's that. That's exactly how I envision this.
I love that.
Where you could just run endlessly, but you could never escape from, like, you could never run away from the person you bring in with you or the entity you bring in with you. And you can't necessarily get closer to them, but if they move, they can, like, they're about 20 paces away.
For sure, yeah.
And no matter how hard I try to run from them, they just remain 20 paces away from me.
Yeah.
Unless they start moving closer. But it's just a emptiness of a grayish white realm, essentially. And the ground doesn't feel soft, but it doesn't feel hard. It's almost like you're walking on, like, fresh cut, like, thick grass. Like a super dense, like, rough of a golf course or something. Or like the outfield of a baseball field before it was like cut or something, so it's like soft, but you can't hear your footsteps.
Sure.
So it's super awkward if you're trying to run or jump or whatever. Like the noise you would make landing on the ground is just non-existent. It's just gone.
You appear in this space first, and you look around and scope it out and see all of this, that it looks like what you expected it to look like. Like, I mean, it does, right? It looks exactly like what you have just described, because that's what you expected when you came into this space, and all of a sudden that is what's laid out in front of you and around you, and you are alone in this space for a brief moment, and all of a sudden the whiteness clicks black, like a light switch has turned off, and it all then drains, and then you see these like white lines begin to appear as all of the black coalesces into a point 20 paces in front of you, and out of that point, as it dims down back into bright light, it's got to be the best place to put it, is just she's, so say 6 feet tall. She wears a long flowing red dress. She is gorgeous, and she looks at you. She says, "Oh, and who might you be?"
I explain that I am Korik, and I am a compatriot of Yi, one of her loyalist followers, and explain how the hunger, the darkness, is taking over the realms that we are a part of. And I have trained vigorously for the last 10 months to use this technique and explain the technique of what's going on. I don't tell her that, like, I can't harm her and that she could just snap her fingers and I'd die. I casually leave that part out, although she probably knows about this. And I say that I overheard Yi in one of our other attempts to, save the planar existence, that religion just wasn't helping. And not fully understanding Yi's full connection with the god, in my mind, I wanted to parlay essentially, or just ask what could the gods do for us?
I help him all the time. He is far too ungrateful, she says.
I imagine her just throwing an image up at Yi as he throws up middle fingers at her for no reason.
Well,
he
if
chooses to not accept my help in the way that I could offer it.
I, for one, can say that what you have offered for help, our team overall is grateful for the help that you have lent Yi, that it has helped us survive thus far. I think me and you are on the same page that Yi can be a spoiled, ungrateful little bird. And that is one of his larger character flaws. And I have come to you seeing not maybe what you could directly do for us with physical help, but any ideas or anything, or what are the gods thinking of? Because what happens if our plane of existence disappears? All of your followers go away. Everybody that prays to you and worships you would cease to exist. So then what happens to your realm and to you if we are all gone?
She sighs. She says, I do love the eyes upon me. But the other gods are, but pebbles, under my shoe. I will be the one to consume them, not whatever measly force you're scuffling with in the grand cosmos. I am chaos incarnate, and while I do appreciate your team's adoration, I would not ever assume that we would be on the same page. And the black behind her starts to kind of skate out a little bit from her before like wiggling back. And she looks back at it and is a little annoyed by that, but looks back at you. What is it you want from me here?
Out of character, I fully expected to be dead at this point.
Yeah, I think actually I'm gonna reverse, because I like she turned around and got annoyed, I think, at me, because like the blackness shouldn't have stopped. Like, she has control of her power in this space, right? Like, you just can't fight back. So that blackness definitely does wiggle back out and like overtake the space when she says that. To like revert that. But she doesn't kill you yet.
Yeah.
I am curious.
Yeah.
Not many people will deign to speak to me to my face.
And so as I say this, I don't want to say I like curtsy or bow, but I do kind of, make sure I do show a gesture of respect And I explained that, while Yi has never come outright and shared everything that, you two have done, or that you have done for him, he does talk about his admiration for you and his devoteness for you. And I've known Yi for a long time, and he doesn't devote to anything besides something that's shiny. So to have something
that's a great point.
that is that important in his life is just, I just knew that, I don't want to say, if you're, in the eyes of Yi, what's more important than money? His God. So
even his God comes second to money. I hope you know that.
You shut up. You're not here.
Yeah, but he's alone in this space.
No, I know. But
this is my perspective of this.
I love it.
I know.
This is my perspective of this.
I also that was a really good point from me. That was a good one. I like that.
So in my viewing of it is, you are the most powerful part of our group. I hate to admit this. In a past life,
Certainly
yes,
true.
I did bite off Yi's left wing and half of his body as a shark because he annoys me. And he did succumb to those injuries.
Yeah, he annoys me too.
But in the past, you helped us. Yes, I know that it cost him, but you have been there for him and thusly for our group in some of our deepest times of need. And I am appreciative and thankful for the connection that you have with him. And what I am asking of you is, what can you do for us to help us destroy this darkness? What could you do? I'm not saying you have to, but what is there a way that you could lean us towards a drop of knowledge? Something that could help us in our future endeavors with trying to save the planar existence. Because, as I mentioned before, if we disappear, all of your followers and beloved prayers stop coming in.
When it crosses my doorstep, I will consume it like I will the rest of existence. It is, again, but a scuffle you are having below my feet. It is, so far away from...
You are so powerful, why don't you end it now?
My liaison, I was going to punish him, but I do appreciate that he loves me the most. I have offered him, at some point, protection, and through our times together, I found that you guys, well, him, he isn't dying lately, and I don't know how that's happening. How? What is protecting you guys at this moment? His damage has been severe, and yet he keeps coming right back.
Talking about me? Or you?
No, she's. I mean,
No,
I
he's
guess
not-
technically also you, but yeah, I mean, all of you have died.
I don't know if you heard this toxic while you were doing working with baby toxic. Buddha's talking to my god right now.
Yeah, I knew that, and I heard most of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
For the
didn't
record-
know if any of that pertained to me or not, because I was trying to listen in one ear and
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I
you're good.
just came across the name of the ship and it made me chuckle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely out of this conversation. What is fucking keeping us alive? I don't see it in my notes.
It's the that orb of light we always grab, whatever.
It's you guys have made the engine of your starship. You guys utilize the light of creation in making. So I guess like theoretically there's a thumbprint of that. And it has to be like at this point, I think you guys have assumed that however you did that, it has connected you guys to it because it always falls right after you, right? It always falls into the plane. Whether you see it on the planet or not, that distance is minuscule in the grand scheme. But it does always fall to you. So you feel like there's a connection there. It probably is the light of creation in some reason, as far as like out of that conversation thing goes.
And also, what is the full name of his god? Like, what's her name?
Hadar.
Hadar?
Yes.
there's several spells named after her.
Okay.
Yeah, I made her a fine woman because Toxic didn't get an opportunity to talk to a fine woman, and I wanted to throw her in.
So you gave it to Cork
Wow.
instead.
Yeah. Now she's over here, and you get to look at her.
Well, no, he doesn't get to look at her. I'm staring at her.
He gets to hear about. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. When I'm done with this, don't worry. I will paint a picture of her for you, Tim. So I tell her that I was like, well, of what we have gone through, and yes, the damages have been just massive. I can't put my finger on. There's not one thing that is keeping us from complete death. It is beyond my complete grasp. What I do know is when we enter a new realm, we have a period of time to try to save it. If we cannot, and the hunger and the darkness comes, we're back on the ship, going to another realm.
And how do you save these realms? She looks away and like off and sort of like waves her hands as if to keep going. And she begins pacing back and forth, nodding to herself a little bit.
So we are trying to acquire the complete light of creation. And the same ability that I learned in this realm to talk to you now, my team believes that I should talk directly to this darkness, this hunger that is consuming our lower plane of existence. And I felt that I did not have enough knowledge or power to do this on my own. We've gotten this far as a team, and thusly I wanted to talk to one of, if not the most powerful, and I'm going to use this term because you have been there for us, members of our team, to see what guidance you might be able to give me or Yi in our quest to save these realms.
That's given me a lot to think on. Again, it's more, I guess at this point, I feel owed to him, but I'm his protector. You said left shoulder, right? And she points at you, and all of a sudden you're fucking from like half of your chest and down is just smithereened backwards. And
from where I bit him on the shark.
Yeah, exactly. The like it looks like the shark bite.
Oh fuck.
And she says,
so question, is there pain? Do I feel pain when I'm in this
yeah,
realm?
I mean, you've got to. I think that is the point. I think you guys out here, you start to see the bear rides for a brief moment and then is burst into Korik, who is like just, I think,
screaming and withering in pain.
But like, yeah, like the body is still alive at the moment, and like Korik in this moment, you're still alive. But that scene is wrapped pretty quickly as she's like, this was a good conversation. And then points at you again, and you just like, you feel it. It feels a lot slower than what really occurs, but like you can feel it hit the center of your chest and just like spread up and down. It feels like a cold, painful wave as you are just sort of disintegrated. And you guys see his body also just sort of kind of just pop and disintegrate outwards.
That didn't work, team.
But I will say that in that, like, that's sad. There's definitely like, oh gods, and cries of sorrow. But it's hard to lose them.
I figured this was going to happen.
It's hard to lose the friends every time, especially when it happens in front of you. But like, it's easier when you know for a fact that in about 2 months Korik will be back, because he always has come back. And the monastery does still grant your team the light of creation, because what that does prove is that Korik learned the lessons. He went in and he tried. They don't know who he talked to. They know that he wanted to talk to like some vengeful god is probably the best that you gave them. But they know that if you've been murdered in this, it's a real thing a real conflict that you went in to take care of. It may have failed, but you went in for peace. It seems from their point of view. And you did, yeah.
I went in based on the entire realm of existence conflict.
Yeah, definitely. So they still do grant your team the light of creation. From
your god is a dick.
As a sorrow,
yeah, I know.
And you guys escape with it as the hunger comes down. So it does ravage the plane, but does not destroy this like beautiful plane of like peace and thought that you guys have come from. And that is where we're going to wrap our session for tonight. But over the course of the next like 15 cycles or so, we'll do like a catch up on what the others did. But I think the team is going to urge you to, like, Davenport and Loop and like the science officers of the, like, the people who have had sway so far are going to at least try to encourage you to sit down and aim for the hunger. And it's not necessarily that
even
the next
try to do that.
Cycles,
I need to have a one-on-one conversation with Yi.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely. That can still occur. That can still definitely occur as we come back into cycle. What the fucking next one would be cycle 31, as you actually do come back to life, right?
Yeah. So like afterwards, I pretty much, since he heard it all, I explained to him pretty much everything, and told him even if he has to start to lie to his god, so me or him are not smited down about all this. But yeah. And I'd also paint him a very voluptuous picture of even when, like, the darkness came out from behind her, Like, she's in like this tight corset with her C plus just kind of pillowing out the top, you know, in the curves. And when she took like 3 steps towards me and like just pointed at me and stepped her fingers, like, I mean, she had like, I would say like reverse French tip nails, so they were just black on the tips.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, and it was just like
they didn't
like
start black on the tips, but when like as the power went upwards, yeah.
When everything rose, it just kind of like came in, like her fingertips did that kind of like a chill touch, you know, type thing. Like I was like, yeah, I'm about to die, but you know, it's kind of hot at the same time.
I'll be
honest, like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been horny on main for 30 years, and I don't get a god.
Yeah.
Now, question.
To be fair, you are seducing death.
Since I learned this ability studying at the monastery for 10 months, do I have the ability to teach it to my teammates?
I think that is why which if you can overcome this bit that I did say, then maybe, if you can tell me how it overcomes it, but I did specify that they had many teachers teaching you. Right, so like maybe you couldn't teach it to him in 10 months, maybe it would take 10 years.
Or another 30 cycles.
You know, exactly, like you might be able to teach it to Tim if you like spend the time, because it's going to take you a lot longer to try to then recover, because all you've had is 10 months of training. So now you can do it, but like teaching him how to find that connection took many people and like magic practice and whatnot, and recalling, you know, every little detail is going to be very difficult. But over time, if you spent a bunch of cycles, which we can definitely say that you do, you could probably teach it to him.
You're not allowed to go in. Just
Tim's gonna show up, and she's gonna be like, "No, not you."
He's just gonna show up just with a battle axe. That's it.
The one who seduced somebody who was a lesbian.
Yeah, I know. I say that, but when he rolls a fucking 15 on his heart roll somehow and be like blown away, and of course,
he is just gonna show up with the umbrella, and it's gonna be popped open.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "Oh, not you." He retracts the umbrella slowly. Because, you know, and this is like, he's 4 feet tall.
Dong.
I was just gonna say, when he walks without wearing his chainmail, he has the dong like line in the middle between his legs. Yeah. He might be 4 foot, but the dong is 2.5 of those feet.
As he closes the umbrella, you see his ankles, and then his dong, and then his knees.
Yeah, you see the dong first before the ankles,
and then you see his body blow up.
And then he dies. Yeah. Oh, that's
maybe not.
No, you just see the dong flop on the ground. End scene.
What you get in Cycle 31 is a new quest from your god, and that is to figure out how to get the light of creation for her.
Ooh.
That's what she wants that now. She's very curious about this light of creation. If she doesn't care about the hunger, which I'll say, like, out of this moment, I didn't want to pause it to say this, but I want to remind that now, out of this moment, the hunger fucking consumes her. It sweeps right across her at some point, right? Because like it did in our timeline, it did do that. Ye lost the hunger, or lost Hadar. And then only because you reverse time is it just sort of everything behind the hunger now, right? It's still moving forward, but all that stuff that it got consumed behind it is now back behind it. So there's probably a good portion of shit right around there that survived too. But also, like, you guys as like players know that while she's cocky because she's who she is, she's wrong. She's also wronky. That the hunger just fucking consumes her, like sweeps over her like it has everything else. But now she wants the light of creation. She's not worried about the hunger, but that sounds like a fun thing. And if it if that's after it, maybe it could be a cool toy for her.
I'm actually mad that you didn't ask me to like roll, like on the off chance that I could have gotten a 14, like with my mind roll or whatever while I was in there of like persuasion or something like this, to see if she would have given me any type of
and
bonus.
I do. But what I want to set up with while you're using this ability is that I don't really want it to be a role based. I just want it to be a conversation. Like that's the point of it too. Also, that like I don't. I loved it. Like she was the bonus that you got, like how you succeeded, which I would say that was a success for you. She was gonna kill you. That wasn't really off of the table.
100% went into that knowing, like expecting to die.
She's Chaos God. Like even if she liked you in the end, it would have been more fun to kill you, right? Like she's big ball of chaos. But she was gonna neg Yi for some amount of years after that. Like she was gonna like curse him the fuck up just as punishment for you talking to her. But because you said some really good shit, like I have to imagine that Yi likes you more than Gold. Like even if Nick disagrees, like she likes that. Yeah. That was perfect. Yeah. You succeeded, and so she's not gonna curse Yi. She gives him a pat on the back and says, "This is your new mission. Get me the light of creation." And that I think that is like the total success there for me, because that was a good conversation. You did say some really good stuff. And that's how I want it to go whenever you use it, right? Like maybe I'll have you roll if you ask the I don't know, an uncomfortable question or something, like maybe, but like I really like the idea. Yeah, if you try to seduce them and there's an ability, like if you're not talking to a god, if you're just talking to another person, yeah, maybe there's a seduction roll we can throw in. And maybe on some gods, but we were just most of it I do want to just be like a nice parlay.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say like the group is split up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to
party.
You guys always party.
We do. But like, hear me out on this, right? And our stones of far speech aren't working because we don't have them or something like that. Could I pull Tim or Yi into there to have a conversation with them? And if so, what happens to their physical form?
Oh, that's a good question.
Are they then vulnerable
that's
to?
Interesting.
Well,
I would be willing to bet
how we saw it this time, your body literally transformed itself into a bear.
That was me.
You thought.
That was me.
That's true.
And I was putting the spell on.
I think that their body would probably be vulnerable because it just doesn't. Their body wouldn't be occupied anymore. Their spirit wouldn't be vulnerable to you in this space. They're safe. Yeah. Like their spirit is safe. But if they're just like in front of a T-Rex or something, and it eats them. Unfortunately, they probably die. Like that's their weakness in that moment, I guess. Right. But you absolutely, I think it's a ritual. I'll say like it's gonna take you like in world probably like an hour to do this thing. But you could absolutely use it to communicate.
I get captured or some shit like that, and I'm whatever, and I do the ritual, and I'm like, hey guys, come save Princess Peach. I'm in the castle. Bowser's got me. Third cell on the left, 4th floor.
Yeah.
All right, deuces.
100%. That actually, yes. Yeah. That would not have probably earned you a light of creation, but now you don't need to earn the light of creation by using this ability. So you just have this cool thing to use. And I think that we can just, as long as you're not dead in sprint running from something, we can just say you use parlay and you want to parlay with X and they come.
All I imagine now is Tim on a date and Korak uses that to call for Tim as Tim's mid-date.
Oh, my thoughts were he was like the soup. my thought was like middle of taking a shit on a toilet and his soul just leaves his body.
Awful.
Yeah.
He wants to know what they get in Cycle 31.
I want to know when can we turn in bonds and stuff, because I think I have 4 bonds now.
Oh, that will be at the end. I don't even know how they what they relate to, but we're also, let's see.
Did we gain any experiences for that cycle?
Those boys did their rolls to get some stuff. You got an experience. Unfortunately, Toxic just utter failed. You should earn something because you always do, and I didn't have you roll, so I'll say either an experience or a bond, because you definitely have bonded with a new thing, but it was
I think I got one experience.
Too, so. Did you? Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, for something else, not for that, for the other cycle, not the...
Oh, yes, yeah, for the other cycle, for sure. For sure.
I'm up to 5 experiences and 1 bond. Or in 4 bonds.
You have a new scar on your body from my god.
Yep. Yeah. I have quite a few scars on me, and you know what? I would still eat you as a shark again, because that was fucking worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry.
So yeah, I don't know about Cycle 31 yet.
Because one of the things that I do leave out when I die, I don't tell Yi that the god pretty much killed me the same exact way that I inflicted harm upon him, because I think that would go to his head.
That's fair. That's actually fair.
I just say
that's
that
her
she
one
was
nod, like visually, that she like actually might care for Yi in some whatever fashion that is for her.
Yeah. I don't give him that little bit of knowledge yet. I hold on to that to maybe bring back at a later date.
Oh, you hold on to it. I guarantee you, she plays it for Yi. It is to her as he sends the message.
I got him. You see this shit? I got him. Every time he goes to sleep, she's just like dancing in front of him, like, I got him. Watch. This is all you're gonna see when you sleep. Check this shit out. Look what I can do.
Instead of like dreams, all Yi gets is goddess just dancing on Korik's grave.
It's replaying it over and over again behind her, and she's pointing.
Yeah.
Cycle 31 will come back. I think, the team is gonna at least attempt to pressure you to use it again, but to talk to the hunger. As far as the others go, I think when we come back, we're gonna do that first and see what happens, because if that occurs, we'll have some conversations to go through. And we're gonna do a broader stroke on like what you guys focus on during that time. Because I don't want to go through one cycle for every time that conversation wants to occur. If it's not done in one, I don't know. There's like structure to.
I feel like so. I keep coming back to Doctor Strange, and I feel like the darkness is Dormammu, and how you said we can't die, and we keep coming back, like how he traps Dormammu in the time loop.
Oh.
That's how I'm envisioning this in my head.
That's rad. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, also, what was your first thoughts as M when I said I want to talk to Yi's god?
Oh, I thought that was a really good idea. I thought that was very strong. I thought Yi was gonna have some naysay to that for some reason. Like, I thought you might have...
Ye corrupted a city that was unencryptable.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a very good point. That was my first thought. That's a great point to like make that thought null and void. But like I was like, I wonder if you will care about that. But I guess not. So I just overall, I think that was a great idea.
Be fair, Yi doesn't know a lot about his god either. All he knows is his name and that he gets tentacles, and it's a seed in his soul. That's all he has.
Yeah, you definitely know more about Yi's god now than Yi does, I think. Just on that's I don't think she said that many sentences to him throughout our campaign.
I was assigned to be Yi's keeper, so that checks out. In our first episode.
This is the first time I think his god has actually sent him on a mission.
Yeah, that's true. And then it came into like a mission grant. So that's the first time you've ever received that too. That's wild. Yeah, a lot from that. That was a successful thing. Even if you died.
Well, I'm going to be around the next 6 weeks because we can't go anywhere until he gets all his shots. So if anybody wants to play again in the next 2 months, I will, in theory, be around.
Yes.
Torn on what I'm doing next week. I was supposed to go babysit at my sister's, but for her to do work travel. But so I took vacation time next week, taking 4 days of vacation. But I don't know if I want to go to my sister's. I think I want to stay home and play video games because I'm going to be in 3 weeks in Florida with my nieces and nephews. So
okay,
yeah,
we have our restaurant. It's called Restaurant Week in Chicago, but it's
you're ass slammed then.
We do ours for like a month in my restaurant. At least we did last year. We're definitely going to this year. But I don't work on Tuesdays. I don't care if they change what they need. Like, we're not open on Tuesdays in general. So that's fine, but it's in my schedule and always has been that I don't work on Tuesdays because that was my podcast recording for the longest time. So I'm still not going to be working on Tuesdays, but I just need to see how like busy the week is around that because I might have to like put something else on this day to just make things work. So let me get a little closer to next Tuesday and we'll see where you're at. We'll see where I'm at and we can assess. If not, the next open Tuesday, I'd love to.
Yeah, I was going to say the other majoring factor is the Bills play at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's a 3-hour drive, and I scheduled myself to get off at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And the Bills have never won a playoff game when I'm at my sister's or with my sister's, and so I don't want to chance it. And they've won all the playoff games when I've just been sitting at home by myself. So
that's how
I'm not superstitious at all.
That's how it goes. The Super Bowl episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia is so fucking funny. They just go for like they go all over about like how this I don't know, the superstitions affect people. It's like fucking so good. I love it.
I have to wear my red shirt. I have my socks that I have to wear. Yeah, I have it. And yep.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. Good session, y'all. We're gonna come back and have some parlay chats and continue our journey.
And feel free to DM me if we need to have any chats of other things with the parlay ability. So
yeah, I'll just copy and paste what it is so that you have it for your records. But it is just about as long. I think I read it out loud. It's just like a short paragraph.
Would that be considered a cantrip?
Yeah, I mean, technically, yes, it's a ritual cantrip, right? It takes an hour to cast, but you can, this is the effect. So yes, technically.
So while that was going on and studying with the monastery, I was looking up like monk abilities and stuff like that just to try to see on the fly of what I could like learn. Nope. And then I came up with a who is Hadar thing on D&D Beyond. It's like I see spells referencing Hadar, but I can't find out who he is. Short answer: Great Old One from Far Realm.
Yeah,
like that's all it is.
I was fascinated with Hadar the first playthrough I had of D&D because of the spell arms of Hadar. I was like, well, if these are his arms, what does the rest of him look like? And then you get fucking whatever of Hadar, and that's nothing. It's just more tentacles. And I was like, well, what does this mean? Like, what is this coming from? And it's still no info. I love how little info there is. And so I always like latch on to that god because you can't tell me I'm wrong. Like, you can't tell me because you don't know. It's just tentacles. That's all you know.
Yeah, it says Hadar was a dying star slowly burning into annihilation. Because of that, it sent its agents, the Heralds of Hadar, to feed on living creatures in a desperate attempt to avert its demise.
So,
yeah.
And then
I'd
what?
Like, the whole
love it.
Hadar thing started from one tentacle mate.
I also love that there's a spell called Hunger of Hadar, and we're trying to like the hunger and the darkness is coming for us.
That's good. That's the other spell, yeah.
Like, I'm just like, yeah.
That's pretty fire.
Imagine if it was actually like, as I was having this conversation, I was like, oh my god, what if it's actually like Yi's god that's coming to kill us all?
Be fair, I wouldn't be surprised.
I was considering not having her be pulled in, but I just couldn't figure out how to make that make sense. Like, that just doesn't make sense. That was the whole point of the ability. It's that you pull in someone and talk to him. If it's not who,
I feel like since Hadar's like ancient god, Hadar has like like she could create a spell or has a spell where it's like to just slam the door in your face.
Oh no! I honestly thought this was gonna happen. You mere mortal, who are you? You're not a follower, and snap her fingers. I die. The spell's over. That's how I thought. I was actually shocked that I, had the.
I mean, from my POV, she just wanted a little bit of entertainment. She's like entertained the fact that you were able to do this, and then more entertained. Like she walked around to test it out. That's what she was nodding at, that she could move, and she was like, "Okay, this is easy." And then more entertained by the fact that you would just allow for that, but then got to the bottom of the fact that you're coming back with Yi anyway. So now,
all right. So I can't do any physical harm to them. When we go in, I have no items, right? It's just me. I don't have any physical things.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell me what you look like.
A sorcerer couldn't come in with their wand. Like
Tim wouldn't be able to cast spells if he you can't turn into an animal. You didn't try it, but you can't turn. So into an animal.
I couldn't use the portal of copying and then trap the god inside there and close it.
Well, you need a doorway, don't you, for that? And that you had it as a blank white room.
Yeah, and this only exists. This extra dimensional space only exists while you have it here, because it changes every time. It appears right then. So you could trap yourself and someone else that wouldn't kill you in there, maybe. But I think they could just leave, because that's the whole point, that they could leave or do, or
they can leave it any time they want. Like, if they just don't want to agree to it, it's
exactly that's the parlay of it all.
Yeah. Okay.
I like really where your head's at, though. Like, if we can subvert the idea of that in some way.
Because I was trying to think of if there was a way that if I could bring, which I think I don't even have that artifact anymore, but boom, create a portal here, go in there, boom, create another portal there, and then you could, the thing that's coming with you, but then their physical being wouldn't be there. So I was just trying to think of random ways of non-violence to affect said thing.
Okay. To jump on that page, when you have all your stuff back, right, and you have the ability, though it takes an hour to cast, that's the thing we got to figure out. If you got someone, if you let's just say you chose Yi. Now both you and your Yi souls are in there. If someone can portal wand copy, although they don't know of the space, you two are now the only one that knows of the space, but if they could figure it out and portal wand copy to it, because now it exists, what if they push his body in there and then you leave, canceling the space? Their soul would be safe. The portal. But would their body would probably die. And then what? They have a soul but no body.
To be fair, a way to kill lost 3 bodies.
Right. I mean, but then you're not you could just, in that case, kill their body, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just random.
No, I like that food for thought.
Another question
for thought.
As we've talked about, the god is part of my soul, seed of my soul. If Buddha pulled me into that space with that spell, would my god be able to just interrupt us freely because technically they're part of my soul?
I don't know. I'm going to have to consider that.
Especially now that she has already been there, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to consider that. The use of this spell, at least narratively, I think for them was only ever used and intended to use as a way to talk to the hunger.
Yeah, but so we don't do it by the book here.
No, 100%. That's what I'm saying. I just don't. the paragraph I sent Buddha is like fucking 3 sentences long, or I think I have it copied and not pasted yet, but it's like 3 sentences long, and that's like the ability, and it seems very powerful, but like as we've been talking, like the point is they can come and go as they please, or they can leave as they please. They can kill you. There's like so much downside. It literally seems to be a conversation. Maybe we'll find the loophole. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I need to think about that. Like, can she just join you? Or maybe it's that is the one moment where there is no connection to her, right? Like while you're in there, you don't feel any of her presence. That might make her mad. You know? I don't know.
Piss off Buddha more and smite him.
Yeah, maybe she's mad at him. Maybe she's mad at both of you. Maybe she doesn't care.
Maybe she doesn't care.
Wouldn't be a first time he got a god mad.
No, I mean, probably her a couple times. Anyway, this was a great session. B gets a new cycle.
Thank you. It was great to get back into this.
I'm excited to see how the recording did.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I can end that now. Stop recording. Beautiful. Hell yeah. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Much love.